issue. If they do a refinance for you, they put you in a...
Hey, Grant's back! Must be nice taking long vacations at the ripe age of 26.
Or that you maybe consolidated some debt, and then they can tell you how to pay off that portion faster. They also have credit optimization, where they can help you tweak your credit. It just takes a few hours to get you even better pricing, or they have the rate guarantee. So if rates go down even further, they will refinance you free of charge over the next 2 years. Give them a call, 303-867-7000, whether you are refinancing or buying, and check out their pre-approval. If you're buying, it's like a cash offer. Yes, you're already approved, not pre-qualified, approved. All you need is the appraisal. 303-867-7000, idealhomeloans.com. Closing in 3 weeks or less. Idealhomeloans.com.
At McDonald Hardwoods, we source our flooring directly from manufacturers for exceptional quality and price. Click MacWoods.com or stop by McDonald Hardwoods for a limited time offer up to 25% off our most popular flooring.
Adults who have crooked teeth and always wanted to deal with them, there is a way to do that. Dr. Ken Lawson has pioneered new orthodontics for adults. Straighten your teeth, widen your palate, take care of jaw alignment, help you with TMJ, stop sleep apnea with natural means in 2 years or less, way cheaper than getting a mouthful of veneers. Aurora Orthodontics and TMJ, 303-690-0100. 303-690-0100.
Oh, this just popped up that you're up. That's funny. I usually don't see that. Oh, really? Yeah, it says Troubleshooter Network Live. That's so weird. I wonder why it comes up now, but I've never seen it.
Create new classics, like our 12-month market link certificates. And since we take the artisan dig seriously, we check and update your rating every month. Which, by the way, is
I'm always in my email, though. I mean, nothing's different from what I usually do.
The rate will never drop below 1.15% APY, any quarter, ever. A variable rate with a safety net. Made sense to us, so we thought you might like it too. Market link certificates for a minimum of just $2,500. Crafted by the artisans of banking at Premier Members Credit Union. Rates are subject to change. We're federally insured by the NCUA. Find out more at your neighborhood branch or becomepremier.com.
630 KHOW has your shot at $1,000. Now, text the nationwide keyword coffee to 200-200. You'll get a text confirming entry plus iHeartRadio info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's coffee to 200-200. This is the Troubleshooter Show.
Somebody.
Now, Tom Martino, the Troubleshooter.
Help me if you can, I'm feeling down.
Hi, Tom Martino here. Welcome to the show. 303-713-TALK. 303-713-8255. This is the show where we help you. We get directly involved in your life. You know, you're never going to hear anything like it, okay? Basically, you will hear nothing like it. This is where, people call and say, hey, I got a problem. Can you help me? Yeah. And it can be a problem about money, about neighbors, about job, about buying and selling, any transaction, the things that make you tick and the things that tick you off. The number to call, 303-713-TALK, 303-713-8255. It's that easy. And 303-MARTINO you can use 24/7, and if you leave information, we'll get right back to you. You can call anytime it happens while it's fresh in your memory. Leave us some details. 303-MARTINO, 303-627-8466. So what we do here is easy. For those, and I explain this, even though we've been doing this nearly 40 years in Denver, I explain this because we often have new people moving into Denver now. So you call and you say, hey, this happened, and we investigate. Sometimes we get directly involved. We actually get involved with attorneys and doctors and accountants and whatever you need. And then sometimes we tell you what to do. So what we're going to do right now is go to the phones at 303-713-TALK. We have some guests today. Every day I try to get a common man. They're not all men. They can be women. We call them common men from the audience, people who listen, people who I find interesting, people who we may have helped, people who, have something to say and say, hey, come on in and be our common man. Sit there and chime in now and then. Let us know what you're thinking. It all started when someone says, Tom, I listen to the show and I yell at the radio sometimes because you piss me off, or you're not doing this, or you're doing this too much. And I said, well, why don't you come in and tell me how to do it? So that's how Common Men started. So what you do is you come into the studio and sit down. That's it. Enjoy the show with us. And all you have to do, I said 2 requirements, long-time listener, and you have to love and adore me. That's it. So if you ever want to do that, just write to us. help@troubleshooter.com. So I'm Tom Martino. We have a whole staff here ready, willing, and able to go. I have our common man today, Lionel Valier? Valier. French, I take it.
It is.
Okay. And he's been in healthcare for 42 years. Wow. And the last 28 at Boulder Community Health. Are you still working, or are you retired?
I'm retired. Retired 6 years ago.
Retired 6 years ago. He's in here. We helped him with a problem, which I'm going to love to talk about, but it resulted in thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for him.
Tens of thousands.
We'll talk about that. And then we have someone from the Referralist at referralist.com, and that's Dr. Chris Centeno, Centeno Schultz Stem Cell Therapy. Now, when we have guests, that doesn't mean we limit conversations to one topic. We never do that. But if you have questions, we love to answer them. And we alternate who we have in to talk about things. And we weave that topic throughout. Right now, Dr. Chris Centeno is here about stem cell therapy. And if there's one message, and one message alone, that we had to give, it's that there are more fakes than real when it comes to stem cell therapy. I'm really sorry that it's like that. The FDA has not gotten involved the way they should. They've been trying. But it's like whack-a-mole. You whack one and the other one pops up. But I would say probably 80% of the clinics out there that call themselves stem cell therapy do not give you living stem cell therapy. Dr. Chris, you know what I've noticed? By the way, 303-713-TALK. Dr. Chris, I've noticed some of these people they took the name stem cell out, some of them, and they're starting to say regenerative. So regenerative, by definition, geez, anything could be called regenerative.
Yeah, I guess the big question is, do we have any research whether it works or doesn't work? And usually it's, if they're using amniotic stuff or umbilical cord stuff, we have no research that it actually will help. But
even if there's some growth factors and it has minimal help, the message here is that it's not living stem cell therapy, and that you shouldn't be paying for stem cell therapy if you're not getting it.
True, yeah. And it's probably not much better than just, as we've talked about many times before, an injection of your own blood platelets that have lots of growth factors as well.
Yeah, and then speaking of that, when people come to you, they have a choice, but many times you'll recommend, hey, we can do PRP, platelet-rich plasma, and help you out here, as opposed to stem cell. And I have always liked that your clinics, of course they'll do living stem cell therapy, but you'll suggest other things first if they're candidates. So when do you decide if they're candidates for the PRP and not going on to stem cell? When do you decide that?
Yeah, so as you've said, usually 3 to 4 times out of 5, we're telling patients, hey, you don't need stem cells. Platelets will work just fine.
That's good.
It's less expensive. It's less invasive. Let's try that.
Good.
As an example, if they've got severe knee arthritis, PRP is not going to work well. If they've got mild knee arthritis, PRP will work just fine.
Okay. And ACL tears won't work with PRP?
Only if they're very minor, but usually those are bone marrow stem cells.
What about meniscus tears? That's a very common ailment in men.
Yeah, most meniscus tears will treat with PRP.
And it will help it?
Yeah.
No surgery?
Realize that for guys your age and my age, if you've got knee pain, well, Tom, you look really good for your age. There you go. But if you've got knee pain, and you get an MRI done, it shows a meniscus tear, the likelihood that meniscus tear is causing your pain is very, very small, because it's really common to have meniscus tears by the time you get over age 35.
Without even knowing it?
without having any idea you've got a meniscus.
303-713-TALK. Teresa, welcome to the Tom Martino Show, the Troubleshooter Show. And what's going on with you, Teresa?
Well, hello, Tom.
Hi.
What's going on is this. 1 week ago today, my husband died in a hospital.
Just a week ago, Teresa?
Yes, he died last Monday, May 6th, on his birthday, his 76th birthday. And I believe it was medical negligence that caused it. Now, the reason I think that is because I know something of medicine. I am a retired RN.
Okay.
And my husband was having a lot of heart and lung issues as of the last few months. And I was seeking medical help through a large, well-known cardiology practice here in Colorado Springs. And, you know, granted, he had some issues.
Well, Teresa, you know, malpractice is perhaps one of the more difficult things to pursue. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible. Well, let me tell you why, okay? It's difficult because malpractice in and of itself is not just missing a diagnosis. It's not just mistreatment. It is an egregious denial of care to a point where someone else in that medical community would say, I would never do that. In other words, it's not, oh, I would have done this instead. It's, I would never do that. It is absolutely below the standards of care. But then there's another component, Teresa, and this is the main reason it's not pursued is not so much you can't find bad guys, but here's the next one. Because people subjected to malpractice are usually sick or elderly anyway, what you must discern is what damages beyond what was already there. Not just that he died, and my goodness, you know, my heart goes out to you, but I'm talking to you now about this problem, and I didn't want to waste time, but I want you to know it does not escape me that you just lost, you know, the love of your life last week. So here's the deal. When you have a death, the death in and of itself may have been coming anyway. What did the practice of the physician or the healthcare workers do? What did they do to increase damage? And then what is that damage worth? That's the big problem, Teresa, and I'll tell you what you're running up against right now. You call and you talk to an attorney, and the very first thing they're hearing is a 76-year-old man with heart problems, and they're thinking, there are no damages here, even if there was malpractice. He was 76 years old. I know that's what they're thinking. But you hang on. We'll dissect it. We'll also talk to Adele about a mental health facility. And then we're going to tell you how our common man got thousands and thousands of dollars because he listened to the show. Now, if you want to benefit from the show directly, just give us a call, 303-713-TALK.
I have to do some commercials in the studio, so
Tom, 1 minute, fix it 24/7, 60.
So every now and then, you're going to hear him say that, but I have to do something. And then, so I'm going to talk. And so it's that easy. And I'll be doing it right now.
Police and rescue vehicles are on the scene. The rest of the drive across town is starting
I'd be shocked that he can finish this week. Oh, he's out there working. Yeah, he's scooping dirt.
Mark, I got to see those cameras. I got to see them. Wait,
93 dump trucks.
Okay, I'm going to turn on the mic. Tell me when I have 5.
With more than 6,000 hotels across the country, including La Quinta, Days Inn, and Super 8, a great hotel by Wyndham is closer than you think. Find one near you.
5 seconds. Unbelievable customer service. Fix It 24/7 has been at my elderly mother's house all morning taking care of her. Now, this email came in a time ago. Furnace went out 24 hours ago.
And they called. They said they'd be right there. They went there. They waited. And I wanted to take a look at the situation. They had lunch with my mom and waited there. And they said they're going to make sure everything is fixed perfectly for her. They felt really taken care of. I'm going to tell you, this is a level above any company you'll experience when it comes to not only the help, but the feelings and truly the value. This is something you need to experience to know, and they always go the extra mile. Fix It 24/7 for plumbing, heating, cooling, electric, and drains, and home of the $39 call. When you call for just $39, no matter how long it takes, they assess everything and then give you a full estimate, and if you have the work done, you get that $39 back credited. 720-526-3939, fixmyhome.com.
Some music, the voice is all you need. Yeah, you've been acting so conspicuous. You flip it on me, say I think so much. You're moving different when we
So, Mark, let me see this camera. Oh, where is that? Up in a tree?
Yeah, here's, watch, you'll see Scott come down right now. Pretty cool. Yeah, that's in a tree, too. Both of them.
How many do you have outside?
I got 10 altogether.
Are you shitting me? So they're all wireless broadband. How long does the battery last?
The ones that are triggered a lot.
And do they get
60
triggered?
days.
They get triggered automatically.
Those, anything in my cul-de-sac, anything in my driveway. So those are triggered more.
You have to climb up and just change the battery.
Yeah, I don't put them that high in the tree, man. I just got to go out and grab them. Yeah, I don't. I have one I've got to get the ladder out for.
So,
and it's a pain in the ass. But I've got it set. It'll last probably 5-6 months because I have it set. So.
And they're Arlos?
They're all Arlo Pros.
And what's the Pro difference? What's the difference?
The Arlo one, the original, I don't think did video. So these are all video. Now there's Arlo Pro 2.
Now, what do you mean video? They record it.
I don't think you could do live video. You couldn't go watch live video like this. On the original Arlo.
Oh yeah, well, we have the original Arlo at just a little doorbell one, but when they are at the door, you see who they're there immediately. You see it.
I mean, live video though. You can log in and watch it live.
Yeah, you can go on your phone and see who's at the door. That's live.
Yeah.
But there's a lag, a little lag.
Yeah. The Arlo Pro 2 has some pretty cool shit. Actually, mine just updated and started doing this. This is really cool. It can tell if it was one of our cats or dogs. So you can set it to ignore alerts that are animals. It's pretty wild. It knows if it's an animal. You must purely by height.
I don't know if Arlo does this, but there are video cameras now that have a no-go zone. So,
you can block out wherever.
So you only get notified if they go in the no zone.
Or the opposite. You can say if anything triggers over here, ignore it. They do that. Arlo 2 Pro does that.
Yeah, I've got the Nest ones. They work well.
That dude made a ton, Jamie. He went on Shark Tank, didn't get a deal.
Who's that?
And then he came back on Shark Tank about 2 years ago as a shark.
Nest. Oh, that's funny.
He sold to Amazon. He made billions. He sold Nest to Amazon.
Or Google.
Or the door.
What was so special
I'm
about
screwing
Nest?
them up. There's two.
You're thinking about the doorbell.
I'm thinking of the Ring doorbell.
Yeah.
That's Jamie.
Yeah.
He's the one with.
What was so special? It's a freaking doorbell with a camera.
Well, what's special is he designed
all in one.
Made it all in one. You could, you can take your old doorbell. As long as you have 2 wires, you're good to go. And he got them built cheap as hell in China. I mean.
I'm Tom Martino. This hour brought to you by Frank Duran, therealestateman.com. Frank Duran is a great guy, but more than that, he is so competent. I think he's a Marvel superhero. I'm going to hear from Marvel now for trademark infringement. So let me just say, he's a superhero. Frank Duran, the real estate man, he's got a big cape and costume, and he can fly around to all the closings because you think he's doing that anyway. 303-920-1622. You'll never find anyone better. Hey, malpractice, what is it? Doctors hear about this all the time. But if you get an unsatisfactory outcome, is it malpractice? Not necessarily. So here's what you have. You have 3 elements. 1, it must be outside the standard of care. 2, it must cause damage. And 3, you have to find an expert, a doctor, or someone in the field, if it's respiratory, if it's a doctor, to say this is malpractice. And Teresa, this is I know what you're going up against. You probably can't get an attorney to look at it because they are contingency cases. So I want, in the interest of time, and I'm going to get onto our other calls, then there are some lines open at 303-713-TALK. Get right to, without the story of he went and he did this, he did that. I need to know right to the malpractice. What did they do wrong?
They did a procedure on his heart without providing an anesthesiologist to monitor his body functions while the procedure was being done.
And did he die under this procedure?
No, he died 5 days later on a ventilator.
Okay, so how did not having and I appreciate your brevity, how did not having someone monitor him during the procedure, how did that cause him to die prematurely?
Because during the procedure, since he wasn't being monitored by an anesthesiologist, of course they used propofol for the
I understand. Because of that, what happened?
His blood pressure dropped precipitously.
Mm-hmm.
They started pouring in IV fluid. It all went to his lungs, and he drowned in his fluid.
5 days later, though.
Right, because it took him several minutes to go into shock. And they whisked him out of the room. They kept us out for 1 hour at least while they tried to get him on a ventilator. He never recovered.
So would somebody say, and I can tell you're an RN because you're telling the story very briefly and very clearly. Okay, here it is. He had a procedure. He was given anesthesia. He was not properly monitored. His breathing almost stopped. They had to put too much medicine in him, basically, which caused him ultimately to die. Okay, now here's the deal, though. We need to know this. Is this procedure normally monitored? Normally, did they go outside the standard of care?
I don't know the answer to that.
That's what you have to know.
It would be since they decided on this procedure would be the way to go.
Yes.
And they
but what was the procedure? What was the procedure?
An ablation of his atria, the sinoatrial node.
Whatever that is. So
it's killing some of the sinoatrial node.
Okay, so he
to stop the atrial fibrillation.
To stop the erratic beating, right? So
right.
So it's an electrical thing or a heat thing where they ablate the nerves. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, because they do thermal ablations, Dr. Centeno, on backs, right? To get to deaden the nerves, right?
It's a common...
Yeah,
right.
they do. So this would be now a common treatment for AFib where they kill off the electrical discharge.
But is he under general anesthesia for this?
Propofol. Given by an RN.
Okay, but
so it sounds like they used RN.
It could be a nurse
rather than anesthesiologist.
It could be a nurse's anesthetist, isn't that?
She was not.
Okay. But what I'm asking is this out of the ordinary? See, it's not what they did. Would other doctors do the same thing?
Yes, on a healthier patient.
Okay.
Yes, on a patient who didn't have his issues.
Okay.
They knew it. They had been caring for him for 3 years.
Teresa, here's your homework. You must take his file and explain it just like you did to me, and you must get a doctor to say, we would never do this. This is malpractice. If you don't get one doctor to say that, you will never get into court. It's required.
How do I do that?
You start interviewing doctors. That's how you do it. And now this is not for court. This is just to say it's malpractice in order to get into court. Then you have to get one to testify. But right now, you would have to get like a doctor used to doing these procedures. And they would have to say, we would never do this procedure without full monitoring and an anesthesiologist on a 76-year-old man.
Does it have to be egregious?
Just like that. I would never do it. So that would be Dr.
Centeno. Some of the bigger malpractice law firms have on-staff MDs that could work for them that can take a look at this and very quickly see if it rises to reach the standard of care is really what it would be.
I contacted Berg Simpson south of Denver, and I have not heard back from them yet. It's been several days.
Well, I would call Marco Bendinelli is who I would call because he's done med mal, and we know him, and he's on our referral list, and
he'll give you the straight skinny too. It's either there or not.
He really will.
I mean, I know Mark. He's really good.
Yep, he's a really good guy.
You know Mark for me.
And you know why he's a really good guy? Because he's not going to take a frivolous case, but he's going to give you an honest opinion on it.
And he's an extremely talented courtroom attorney.
Yeah. So here's the deal. A 1-800-ATTORNEY, but we want to preface it to let him know you're calling for us so you can get right in and talk to him. I mean, not right in. You can do it by phone, okay? So 303, Suzanne, would you help her out there on line 2, 303-713-TALK. Adele, welcome, and we have lines open. Adele, what's going on?
Hi. Yeah, I have some concerns about the mental health issues in teenagers in Colorado.
Well, you know, you and thousands of others. I mean, here's what I want to say about that. If your child has a respiratory problem, your health insurance and your medical coordinators, everything's fine. If you have a mental health issue, health insurance can be blamed for some of this. First of all, they don't handle mental health like it's a real deal. They don't. You know, for some reason, mental and dental are treated differently, and they are primary things in health. Primary. But for some reason, we've separated dental, and we've separated mental health, and we make it too difficult for parents to get help. But go ahead with your thing. That was my rant. What is yours?
My rant is on Thursday, my daughter was admitted to the hospital and put on a 72-hour evaluation.
And that is called the Baker Act, I believe, because I believe it was a Senator Baker, and they felt she was a danger to herself or others. And it was that what it was? A forced 72 hours. Okay.
Yes.
What's her? Give me a first name if it's not too unusual to deal with, so I can refer to her.
We'll call her Bella.
Bella. Okay, so Bella was admitted for 72 hours. How did that come about, though? Was that all of a sudden that, you know, something happened for that to happen?
Yes, something did happen.
What happened? How old is she?
She is 16 years old.
What happened?
Bella actually tried to commit suicide.
Okay, that's what happened. Was this during school or at night?
It was after school. It was home.
And did the ambulance come?
No, we were actually able to take her to the emergency room.
And that's why they admitted her. Okay, hold on. This is where it starts. So, and by the way, Adele, thank God you were able to intercede. You know, I mean, this suicide thing. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Think about this. We talk about school shootings, which are tragic and dreadful, but we are losing way more kids to suicide. We'll come back to Adele.
This is Denver's talk station, 630 KHOW, an iHeartRadio station with Russ Kaminsky Mornings.
Tom, 1 minute, Raleigh House 60.
This report is sponsored by Wyndham Hotels and Resorts.
God, the drive across town.
The suicide thing is amazing.
I can't believe how much more prevalent it is. I mean, did you know any kid that committed suicide when you were growing up? No, I didn't.
That committed suicide. I knew some kids that died, but not suicide.
Yeah, I knew a kid that died from a car accident.
I knew one that killed himself. His name was Brad Blum. He was a twin brother, Brad and Brian Blum, but well into their 20s after I know
kids who like
drank
too much or did
right.
No,
did you know anybody? I didn't know anybody.
Not just boom, no.
Yeah, no, I had one kid in my high school class committed suicide.
How did he do it?
He was 18. He hung himself.
So unusual.
Yeah, we had just graduated.
Oh,
they say why? They didn't know.
I don't know. I mean, it seems so weird to hang yourself, too. It seems
okay, guys, 5 seconds.
Horrific.
The RaleighHouse.com, that is an addiction treatment facility in Denver. In fact, it was started on Raleigh streets, hence the name the Raleigh House. They have a few locations now. They have a rural setting for beautiful rustic setting for wide open spaces and equine therapy. They have urban settings. They have really wonderful treatment facilities. But here's the deal. Before you even think about treatment or someone in your life thinks about treatment, you need to know about it, right? What do you ask? I don't know anything. Do you?
like when it comes to specific addictions, they'll answer any question free of charge, no obligation. You can call multiple times. And it's not a sales line, it's for help. If you have any questions, this line was set up for you. The Raleigh House sponsors it, 720-730-9722. Any questions about addiction, including cost, insurance, coverage, how to approach an addict, 720-730-9722. Now let me do that again, 720-730-9722.
Challenges are a thing of the past.
So when you, well, I got a question for the doc.
I got one more, guys. Okay.
How do you know, and I'm going to ask one of our flooring experts, but you might have run into this. How do you know if you need, we're talking hardwood, Tom.
Okay.
How do you know, I'm looking for...
1 second, 5 seconds.
Go ahead.
Bright Light Chiropractic is a bright light in the chiropractic profession simply because Dr. Mike Hederscheit does chiropractic adjustments, direct and targeted and very gentle. But here's the deal, a complete evaluation with x-rays and thermal scans, just $50. He really is economical. It's a great facility. It's right over at University County Line, 720-583-4506. Better yet, make your own appointment. Brighton, here's what it is, brightlightdenver.com, brightlightdenver.com.
How do you know if a floor can be done hardwood by a screen and recoat, or
to make them look better, you mean, or a full sand? Okay.
What's the difference? Because everything I read is one is the same.
It's the mill thickness. If your scratches and wear and staining goes beyond a certain number of mils,
then you have to.
And they'll do a test area. The screening takes off just the top coat of polyurethane. It does not get into the wood, but I mean a tiny bit.
The sanding does so.
The sanding will take out a gouge from a dog, imperfections. And here's how they do it. Even if one part is deeper than another, they don't go down to the lowest. They go like this, and they do wherever they need to heavier, and they make it look perfect, right? Then they use the polyurethane to make it level. Perfect. But it's so minor you don't even know. Like, for example,
I understand.
Yeah. They won't sand the entire floor down this much because you have one gouge that much. They float them, they're called. So when you refinish a hardwood floor, it's the whole floor down a few more mils. The screen is just the polyurethane or whatever you put on the top. And Mark, most of the time the screening makes it look new. Most of the time. Do you have floors you want to do?
Yeah. Our whole, I mean, we've got so much hardwood.
Did they have dogs?
No, but we do, but it's not even really that. No, he doesn't do the sand. I mean,
but he can tell you what you need.
Yeah, Big Bear. I'm having Big Bear.
Oh, he'll tell you for sure.
But, God, we just got so much hardwood, man. I started thinking how much
You're just doing everything, aren't you, from head to toe, basically.
Slowly.
To make it perfect, right?
Yeah. I bet we have 1,200 to 1,500 square feet of
my new home has
hardwood. It's just never ending. And then you start thinking if you don't do the whole thing, it'll never look this. It won't match. It won't flow. You have to do it all.
I'm Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. You can get your calls right in. Mondays are slow. It's a good day to call if you ever have people with problems, and you can always call 303-MARTINO and leave a message, but leave your callback number. I'm going to get back to the phones. This is very serious. Teen suicides. Very serious. Mental health, very serious. I am sick and tired of insurance making it difficult for people to get help. Not just children. Adults. Mental health is not at par with a problem physically. It's just not at par. We've always dealt with it in a hocus pocus way. Even, you know what? Really, if you get down to it, we do that with, I said that before, dental, but now let's throw in vision. You know, truly, do you know that vision not just correction, but vision diagnostics, vision, eye exams, and Dr. Centeno will probably back me. It can uncover a host of diseases way before a physical exam.
Yeah, especially in the back of your retina.
And brain problems and all kinds of problems, blood pressure. I mean, through the eyes, you can see so much. And yet, if you go to get a physical, they never ask if you've had a yearly eye exam.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, and then how about dental? Well, my goodness, it's a known fact now that gum disease and just bad teeth, bad mouth, it'll ruin your heart. It'll add to the plaque, but more so the inflammation of your system because of your mouth. Yet, it is a pain in the ass to get dental coverage. It should be automatic. There's nothing different. In fact, you can stay healthier with eyes and mouth before you even get to the body. Now you have mental problems. Parents don't know where to turn. Now, Adele didn't call about maybe a lack of care, but it just pisses me off when I think about it. When I think about how health insurance has ruined health care. Now, granted, managed care to an extent was needed because they felt doctors were getting out of control. But here's what's really strange. Now, listen carefully. And, Chris, you can back me up. Dr. Centeno, you'll back me up. You take a guy that delivers babies. Okay, what do you call that? An I always get it mixed up.
Obstetrics, gynecologist.
Okay, all right. Now, he was paid, let's say, $1,800 to deliver a baby to $2,000. Okay, now, managed care comes in. Managed care comes in. And now he's getting paid about $1,200, right? Or maybe $800. But here's the point. The cost didn't go down. They made the profit. They did not lower the cost to the patient. What they did was they were like in the old days when the mafia went in New York and said, hey, we're going to be your trash pickup from now on. You know, and then they do the trash pickup. What they went in to say, hey, you deliver the babies, we're going to take a cut. That's what they did. They did nothing. They went in, they inserted themselves into the healthcare system and skimmed off the top. They didn't lower prices. In fact, then doctors said, well, wait a minute. They just lowered my prices. We have to make it up somewhere else. Everyone raised their prices. Just so insurance companies could make money. In the beginning, health insurance had a reason. They were aggregating risk and they were managing care. And then it got to be nothing more than organized crime. But it's not a crime because they allow it. So organized uncrime. And now they insert themselves and they raise prices for themselves. It did nothing to lower health care, nothing to manage care. In fact, if anything, care is withheld. How easy is it to withhold? By just saying what? Experimental. Or they call it another word. There's all words they use, which means we're not going to cover it.
Yeah, I think you're talking about investigational there.
That's exactly right. Investigational is one, experimental is another, exploratory is another. So Adele, I'm sorry for the rant. Adele's daughter, 16, tries to commit suicide, put on a 72-hour mental health hold, they call it. And then what, Adele?
Well, so during the 72-hour hold, she has to be completely supervised by a person. At the hospital, it was a security guard or a nurse.
Okay.
So my complaint out of her whole entire supervision was she was transferred from a hospital to a facility where she was supposed to get some help. They did not allow me to be part of that transfer due to them saying the time of day and the visitation hours to the treatment hospital.
Okay.
My daughter, while under the 72-hour hold, is put into a room by herself to fill out the intake paperwork. Now, granted, you have to remember, at the hospital, she has either a nurse or a security guard in her room with her 24 hours. With anytime going to the bathroom, they have to escort her to the bathroom. So she gets into this mental health facility, and they put her into a room by herself for hours.
But I haven't heard the harm yet. What's going on?
The harm is She was in a room by herself while under 24-hour surveillance.
What you're saying is she could have tried to kill herself again, or what?
Yes, she could have tried to kill herself.
I imagine
under a 72-hour hold.
No, I know what you're saying. Was the room? Maybe she was monitored by a camera.
Monitored by video, but in the hospital she was monitored by video too. But in the hospital, that did not matter. They had to have.
But what happened that you're complaining, Adele? Is it what could have happened, or are you?
What could have happened?
Well, but
Easily.
it didn't.
What could have happened? And hold on, there's the other part. In the state of Colorado, at the age of 15, medical rights is now done by the patient, right? So she has the right to fill out her own medical paperwork. But there is nobody in that room explaining to her what she is
As a result, let's get to the actualities. I understand you're pissed off at procedure and what could have happened, but I need to get
procedure. That's what I'm pissed off.
I know, Adele. I know.
Within the 72-hour procedure, everything that was supposed
Adele,
to be done by
here's what I need to know.
was validated. She did not get to see a psychiatrist like she was supposed to.
Adele, here's what I need to know. Okay, and I'm asking this with all due respect. So what? What I mean is, what happened as a result of this screwed up procedure? Because if nothing happened, then, okay, we attack this institutionally. And that is, okay, 72-hour holds have to be better monitored. They have to be different. But what happened in your case? You're calling. What were you hoping to get? Are you looking for something?
I was hoping that by sending my daughter to a treatment center to get help, she would actually receive help.
Okay. In other words, okay, I get it. So what the hell are you holding it for if you're just going to sit her there for 72 hours alone? Why not have at least someone talk to her or counsel her? Is that what you're saying?
That, and the other part of it is the lack of communication that the facility has with the family, and them just having 16-year-olds sign paperwork without them explaining to them what they are filling out.
All right.
One of the nurses had my daughter sign a voluntary stay form that she would be voluntarily staying within the facility without explaining.
Now without explaining to her what it means, because if you were there, you could have said, hey, listen, dear, they're saying that you're going to stay here. We can take you home and go to a private physician or something. But what did this all cost you?
What does this all cost me? At this moment, I don't know.
Do you have insurance for this?
Do you mean by payment?
Do you have insurance for this, Adele?
Yes, I do have insurance.
Will it cover this?
But that doesn't matter if insurance covers it or not. My daughter still did not receive the proper care that she should have received, especially within the 72-hour hold that she was put on. From what I understand from the state of Colorado, while under 72-hour
I get
hold,
it. I get it. We need to talk to someone about a 72-hour hold and what it means. Do we have anyone that can speak to what the Baker Act does? I mean, for example, Adele, I am not sure what it's for. I do know from secondhand experience, people I know that have been held for 72 hours, I do know they interview them, they do have them fill out paperwork, and they evaluate them before releasing them, or they can hold them. I'm not sure what was done and if it was wrong or if it's standard procedure to leave them alone on purpose. I don't know, Adele, but we will find out. If anyone knows about the Baker Act or 72-hour holds, please call us. Meanwhile, we'll try to get someone to weigh in on what are the procedures for a 72-hour hold, and I'll take all of your other calls.
I think she should be more worried about, I know, what's going on now.
Sheridan Auto 30.
Get her daughter
So watch
fixed
out for
instead of
just getting
blaming this
word.
fucking hospital.
C470 at Quebec.
Well, I think she wasn't. She was supposed to go to a psychologist while there.
Travel through there with caution. Got a stalled vehicle blocking the left lane, northbound I-25.
I mean, what's the deal though? What was she hoping to just
I think she was making her aware.
I think
She wanted to make it aware.
Yeah, but she should be dealing with other shit right now.
I'm sure
It
they
seems so weird.
Yeah, but you know what? That's how people do deal sometimes, Mark. They
they
just pick
offset it.
something. That's right. And they compensate. They pick something to be pissed at. Like with weddings, the caterer or different. I mean, it's amazing when people are sensitized. They grab onto something. They grab onto something to give them relief.
And it took a whole day to get her out of the place.
It's closer than you think. Find one near you and book direct.
Short,
at
right? You mean after the 3
Wyndham
Right now, Sheridan Auto Tech. If you want a repair shop that You can trust. Now, listen, I think this word trust is bantered around too much, but I can tell you firsthand. Uncle Kevin, we call him Uncle Kevin, he's so relatable. He is so honest and ethical. He has thousands of customers who trust him. A repair shop that's been in business for years. 2 locations. Colfax just west of Wadsworth, Aurora, on Havana just south of 6th Avenue, 303-455-7242. Sheridan Auto Tech, 455-7242.
Guardians of the grass. Run with us.
Did you see the fucking Iranians did something to some oil tankers?
What did they do, Mark?
They don't know.
They didn't know.
What do they think? What did they do?
2 Saudi auto tankers got fucked up.
By who?
Well, I thought Iran, but he's saying we don't know affirmative.
That's what I heard in this story this morning. They said they didn't know.
That's a pretty big deal, man.
You're in healthcare because you were moving like this about the procedure. What did you do? Did you elaborate or no? Director of lab service.
Director of lab services.
Were you allowed to geek at one time?
See that in the Whitebird?
Like what did you do?
No, I saw that.
I directed the Whitebird cover operation.
But it was
Did you know how to do testing?
Or, well,
do you have a
top left corner.
What's your education?
I have a bachelor's degree from the University of Iowa, then I have a med tech degree from City Hospital in Champaign, Illinois.
So you were on the line at one time doing blood tests and all of that?
For a while, and then I became a manager.
Yeah.
Then I became the compliance officer dealing with Medicare and Medicaid.
Looks like Pompeo just canceled his trip to Russia and said he's going to
for video conferencing,
deal with Iran, whatever the hell that means.
And your conference reps.
You know, the 72-hour hold.
They know good on
She
that.
had evaluated while she was there.
Everything's coming
Before she was released, they myself. Some psychiatrists or psychologists would have to come in and evaluate her before they could
Time to
send
talk
her to
about
medical
ideal
institution.
home loans for your next
You mean
ideal home loan.
to give her that more
loans
relaxed?
are the same. They will write that loan best
And she
for
probably,
you.
if she was in that room, I'm sure there was a camera, she was monitored all the time.
23 years, 15
I never know
years,
what was there.
Dude, he's moving that dirt quicker than they can dump it. That's a fucking problem.
Ideal home loans.
Is he take care of the dumping too?
No, there's a landscape.
But did you have
basically right across from?
But did you have to coordinate all that?
No, Scott's coordinating everything. He's almost being a general.
That's what I'm wondering. So okay,
In a way.
he's a good guy, isn't he?
Comes in any color and is backed by a 25-year transfer warranty.
I'll tell you.
I can't imagine.
I want to tell you his story.
I know his story, or at least I know what
Do you know that he was dying from cancer
and she was
and the
taking care
nurse
of
took
him?
care of him? And then they got together, and then she was paralyzed. Now he's taking care of her.
It's crazy. And he operates heavy equipment. This is kind of weird too.
He's a
Heavy
master
equipment.
electrician, actually.
Not a master, but he's an electrician.
I thought he was a master.
No.
No,
he's not.
Okay.
But he's a journeyman. But he doesn't care about that. All
He doesn't do it anymore.
But think about it, because his wife is paraplegic, or his girlfriend. It's kind of weird because he operates all this equipment like an extension, and he's basically an extension of her now. It's kind of ironic. This is a perfect word for it.
And how did she become paraplegic?
Okay, she was out on the son's birthday. They went out hiking. That was a little tradition. So the cousin and him and she went out hiking, and they were in the foothills. And she fell down an embankment 200 feet.
Pretty good one. She's lucky she's not dead.
Steep, so she kept falling, twisting, hit her head, and then she couldn't move. The son, they said the son probably saved her life. He's an Eagle Scout. He and his cousin were Eagle Scouts. They stabilized her immediately because they thought, don't move, because she wanted them to get her out, pick her. And they stabilized her, called Flight for Life. She was taking the St. Anthony's. We saw her that day. There were still twigs in her hair. When we got to the hospital, it was unbelievable. Because Austin, her son's good buddies with my stepson. And then we went to the hospital because Stephanie and her were really close. And so we went there, and it was freaking unbelievable. Her spirits were so good. She's in the hospital. So the family flies in. And I just happened to have one of these procedures done on my thumb, and I was in a cast of ear head surgery. So when I walked in, I was saying, hey, I know what it's like to be in pain And they burst out laughing. And then when I was leaving, I said, let's all remember to pray for me, please. They're such good people. And that made Chris laugh a lot, too. I said, Chris, you think you got a bed?
She's doing better, though, isn't she?
Oh, my God, she's getting a lot of function back, and she's not a quitter. She's the one we had to fight for Craig Hospital to extend her rehab.
Oh, I remember.
Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter, 303-713-TALK. We're going to looking into the Baker Act. I want to take some other calls, 303-713-TALK. John has some advice for Teresa, who called, who said her husband on his 76th birthday, it was just last week, died. She thinks it was malpractice because during a procedure.
I heard all that.
Yeah,
Tom.
yeah.
Look, this is what you got to do.
I was just telling other people. Go ahead, John.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, what you've got to do is get a sit-down appointment and a professional letter from a specialist in the field. If the letter contains the pronouncements she needs, she can get a lawyer any damn place in the world. If it doesn't...
But it's hard to do that, John.
Well, that's it with these cases. You got to hit them straight ahead. There's no mucking around, but a professional will tell you whether or not there's breathing room. That's why she's got the consulting. It's going to cost her a little money, but it's going to save a whole lot of headache.
Well, it's, in fact, John, you're right, but it's actually required in Colorado. You can't just go to court. Now, here's the other thing, though. Even if a doctor says, oh, yeah, that's malpractice, no one should have ever done that, you still may not get an attorney because the damages aren't there. They look at damages. My mother had a straight-out malpractice suit she could have pursued, but she was in her late 80s and in ill health, and it didn't take much from her. It was a broken, I don't know what happened, something with her mouth, but it was not worth pursuing. Anyway, let's talk to Marnie. Marnie, what's happening? Marnie?
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Marnie. Thanks for contacting us. What's going on?
AT&T.
What about him? What about him?
Well, I had AT&T/DirecTV for 23 years. I had AT&T. I was just done with them. I called them up. Told
now,
them
wait. Do you have AT&T cell phone?
Yeah. No. I had AT&T Cellular as well as DirecTV, and then, of course, they merged. And
what's the problem?
The problem is that when I tried to cancel, and I was very specific in my efforts, asking them, what day do I have to be canceled by?
Yeah.
What is the amount of my final
Anyway, what
bill?
happened? What happened? They screwed you up?
Oh, my God.
What happened?
It was 15 phone calls, the overseas.
I mean, you know what? When one time I was leaving Verizon, and I've been with them a long time and had a lot of phones, and it was near impossible to get them to stop billing me, and they said the phone was still on, and even though I was out of contract. But anyway, let's sum all this up. Therefore, I need your help doing what?
Well, they won't even allow me to get into an account.
Get into what account? A new account?
No. On April 2nd, I was canceled in time. I opened up my new account.
With who? Who's your new account, dear?
Consumer Cellular, who does use AT&T towers.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. So what are you saying? You can't get your number released, or you can't get the new service because they won't let you go? Suzanne, tell me what she's trying to say.
So the problem is, since her account was closed, they cannot access her account for final payment. They want her to give her Social Security number over the phone.
To do what?
To access her records so she can make some sort of final payment, and she might even be disputing that final payment.
But hold on. Why? Okay, here's what I don't understand. Why do you have to make a final payment there to get a new service? That part doesn't. They're not connected. Why can't you just start a brand new account with consumers?
I did.
Okay.
But I also canceled the AT&T account.
I understand.
Yeah, but they're saying I never canceled AT&T or DirecTV.
So are they still billing for AT&T?
Not only that, but this is all in less than a month.
Marnie,
I have a letter saying they're going to send.
Marnie, I understand, Marnie. But right now, though, Consumer Cellular, that's up and running, right?
It is.
Okay.
But on April 2nd, they would not unlock my phone.
What do you mean?
Well,
who wouldn't unlock it?
I had to cancel by April 3rd in order not to be billed for April. So
Marnie, I understand. I just want to know this. Right now, you have Consumer Cellular Service. Is that right?
I do,
okay.
Wonderful.
Fine. Now let's get to AT&T. You're saying to me right now that every month, still, right now, they are still considering you a customer right now.
On the 4th, they billed me again.
Okay.
But they knew I was gone by the 2nd.
I know that. So will they bill you again next month, or did you?
I don't know. I call in and they won't talk to me.
Okay, I get you. I get you.
I don't have an account anymore.
So you don't have an account, yet they keep billing you.
Yes, I have a final notice here.
All right, hold on. I'm Tom Martino. I know she's caught up in some kind of billing hell. I realize it. We all get there. We'll try to help. Coming up. Hello, I'm Troubleshooter Tom.
Now, man. What is that?
Uber. Why? It's starting up ways back up, isn't it?
No.
You're looking at buying.
Yeah.
How low is it?
It just opened. Its IPO was $45.
And now what is it now?
37.
Do you think it's going to go back up?
Oh, it'll definitely go back up. It's
to what, though?
When?
I see them being...
They're huge, man. They're global. They're Amazon. Think of all the different things. Think of trucking. They're implementing this so some private operator who owns a semi that's dropping something off like a moving truck in Oklahoma, and he needs to head back, he can instantly pick up cargo.
I know. Uber
Eats is becoming big.
I mean, Uber Eats, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, just wait till self-driving cars come in.
But they'll own them.
Yeah.
Then they get rid of their labor. Then they don't have any. All these drivers are bitching right now. They're not even going to have jobs.
We're never going to have totally autonomous.
It's coming.
Not total.
2020, man. It's next year, bro.
Total.
U.S. unemployment
I don't
rate.
see it.
Chronic U.S. unemployment rate by 2040 is going to be 30% minimum.
Well, we said that too, though, back in the 20s and 30s, and it never happened.
But the difference between now and then is that was process improvement. I mean, when you get into artificial intelligence,
that's true.
It's taking jobs away from people. It's taking thinking and thought jobs away.
Yeah,
only some
AI.
people you can employ in the service industry.
No, you're right. AI. That's very true.
Cutting hair and mowing lawns. I mean, just the way that is.
Actually, mowing lawns will be autonomous. I mean, shit, you can buy a lawnmower right now that does it all.
Farms have it almost, tractors almost total autonomous.
Oh, you kidding? With those GPS things, they literally can do.
Turn around.
They're autonomous 100% on farms. The big ones, the big combines.
I mean, they still got people in them.
No, some of them don't. Really?
I mean, have you seen the Boston Robotics or the Boston Dynamics stuff on some of the factory robots they've come up with? It's crazy. They're moving boxes. They're palleting. They're doing all.
Walmart's saying the stocking will be almost fully automated within 5 years. There won't be stockers. As soon as something's pulled from it, it'll be put back. As long as it's in the back of the store.
Yeah.
No, I agree with a lot of that stuff, but you're still going to have.
We're seeing the beginning of it right now. I mean, look at Bernie and the shift to the left. It's all due to the first stages of massive automation. I mean, think about. You used to go to the airport, and you would go to the airport, and there'd be some guy that would take your bags, and there would be rows of people who would deal with you, and then there would be, even just making the reservation required, massive call centers, people who no longer have jobs.
Yeah.
And this is the first, it's not being talked about, but we're in the first phases of it
Well,
right now.
and I've always brought it even further down. Go to autonomous vehicles. What do the cops do? Where do cops, like in Castle Rock, get the majority of the money for the Castle Rock police? It's all tickets.
Yeah.
These things don't speed. These things will
That's
be
right.
exactly where it is. Insurance companies. The fact is there'll be a hell of a lot less accidents if everything was operated with a computer.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll change a lot of industries. Same thing with parking lots. I mean, you know, when you can summon your car, what's the use of having all the parking that we have?
Yeah, you can park it anywhere.
Yeah.
It can drop you off. Instead of parking at the Pepsi Center, it drops you off and finds a free place.
Same thing with delivering your car. I mean, as soon as you order it from the factory, your car should be able to drive itself wherever the factory is to your house.
Yeah.
Connected, offering encouragement, support,
Probably with less car ownership.
voices for recovery.
I think car ownership in general should go down. Unless you want fun. I mean, you're always going to want a vehicle, but if you live like, well, think of the new communities they're building, like the outlet malls around Castle Rock, that not the old outlet malls, but everything else around there is basically people that live there, eat there, they don't need a car. It's one of these, you know, you live where you work type things. And then you can hop on public transit and go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
With more than 6,000
retail
hotels across the
you've
country,
got,
including La
autonomous
Quinta,
vehicles
Days
circling
Inn,
around,
and
just
Super
waiting
8.
at
A great
button
hotel
press
by
to
Wyndham
deliver
is closer than you
something
think.
to you.
Find
You've
one
got just lots
direct
of
at
changes.
wyndhamhotels.com.
I embrace it.
Oh, yeah.
ExcelRoofing.com as in excellent. That'll get you to one of the best companies run anywhere, and I mean companies as they're run, because Jay Bretz knows that people are in a highly sensitized state when they have to get their roof done. That he knows that there's a lot of pressure. He doesn't pressure anyone. He doesn't knock on your door, and guess what? No penalties if you decide later to cancel with him. He wants to prove every day that he's the best, and that's what he does. Excel Roofing. You don't pay a penny until you're content, and he never tricks you into a contract. Everything is fully disclosed, and he works with your insurance company. ExcelRoofing.com. 303-761-6400.
If you missed rates being this low
And you're thinking a lot of that is because that increase of minimum wage, right? I know what McDonald's and their hamburgers, right? They got, they're gonna have,
most of them are $15 though right now.
We've been serving Colorado since
I mean, like Seattle is, New York's going.
Most fast food around here is $15.
Oh, right here, that's because the wages are so high around here.
What could you do with 300?
It's all supply and demand.
Yeah, and at some point we're going to have to do that universal basic income thing, which is going to be
and rates lowering
interesting.
now might be the last chance to save thousands in interest.
I don't think it's sustainable.
It may not be, and that's the problem. At some point,
It's
you're
Social Security for all, for all ages.
60% of the population is employable, 40% that's not employable. So how does that work? It's going to be,
You think it's 40% non-employable?
Well, he's going.
at least. I'm talking about 2050, that time frame. Yeah, at least. When you think about it, all specialized labor is gone. All what I do probably gone, or at least much different than it is today. All specialized thinking jobs gone. The only thing that's left is sales.
Talk show host, gone.
Well, no, you're good. Sales, some of the creative stuff, that's good. Creative programming is gone because you need to program computers, they learn it. You need to make the learning program. After that, a computer program is taught to do what it does, and then it's done.
I wish it was that easy. But
Massive amount of fun. It's coming, trust me.
There's always going to be new industries, though, no matter what we think.
Yeah.
There's something we don't know right now.
Just the repair of a robot.
But
Yeah, but you'll have robots.
Repairing robots?
You will, but that's where he went with AI. They actually learned. I mean, that's
Here's
the
a title of a
craziest
good
part.
book.
Hello, I'm Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. 303-713-TALKS. 303-713-8255. This hour brought to you by One Clear Choice Garage Doors. Give us a call for help, information, and referrals. I do it. I use my referral list. I called One Clear Choice Doors the other day to my home and had them do, they had to fix something, the panel outside, the remote panel. And since this is a new property to me, I'm going to have both openers. I don't even bother messing around. I tell them to do whatever it takes to make them perfect, and they do. And you can have that kind of service, and you can trust them. They'll do exactly what you need and how you need it, and they're of value. They're responsive. They're ethical. They're fast. OneClearChoiceDoors.com. Look them up. Have them come out. They're on my referral list at referralist.com. Let's talk about these tariffs. Okay, China says, all right, you put tariffs on us. We didn't come to an agreement. We're putting tariffs on you. They say it's going to be devastating in certain markets for consumer goods because we all know this. Companies are not going to absorb tariffs. It's going to be a lot of money on top of consumer goods. What do you think that'll trigger? Any thoughts on that? What do you think it'll trigger, Mark? We will see, okay, blue jeans or denim is one thing, right?
Yeah, more expensive. It's going to simply be that.
More expensive.
More expensive.
But I think when we say more expensive, it could be by 25%.
Yeah, it could be.
And things are not cheap right now. So we're also talking about Uber. Uber came out with a stock. They went down a bit, but Uber is becoming the Amazon of transportation. They're implementing Uber for transporting cargo. So if a guy is somewhere in a city and he's heading back to another city empty, he can go on the app and pick up a load.
Think how much emissions that saves, too.
I mean, that's amazing. That will be great. For cargo and moving and everything, think about it. You go on an app, what moving vans are close, or what car transporters are close. For that matter, what animal or horse transporters, I mean, what are their ratings?
Yeah, and do you have a refrigeration unit? I mean, whatever. It's ready to go.
Are they doing that for sure?
Yeah.
So Uber's here to stay. We hear a lot of things about Uber, but I think they're here to stay.
They got killed in this IPO, though. They opened up Friday at around $45. They're down to 37 now. Now, granted, all this Chinese stuff hasn't helped them.
I think in general, though, IPOs are not what they used to be, where they would come out in a storm and then go immediately skyrocket.
There's been some
Facebook
real big
didn't do that.
ones,
No, but that's the old days. But really, if you think about it, in recent history, they haven't done that. They come out and they tend to either stay where they are or go down a little. I think people get buyer's remorse, or they're thinking, wait, you know, what did I just do, or is there substance here? And then I think it slowly grows.
The one I missed that was great this year, it might have been late last year, was Roku. You have a Roku stick, one of those streaming sticks?
Yeah, but aren't they just one of many? What's special about them?
I don't know, but man, they took off.
What penetration do they have, though, compared to the Amazon stick, the Fire Stick?
Oh, I'm sure they have
or Google TV.
Way more than that.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I would bet they're probably number one.
Roku?
Yeah. I would. I'm not positive, but I would bet
but
so.
all
it's the first one I ever remember.
But, Mark, think about it. With more and more smart TVs having hubs built in, you would think the need for a hub to begin with is being lessened.
Yeah, but a lot of those are built and sold by them. Roku.
The built-in hub.
I have two of them. I have two smart TVs that have everything, and they're both powered by Roku.
Oh, okay.
Or Roku, whatever the hell it's called.
Now, Dr. Chris Centeno's with us from Centeno Schultz. If you have any questions or comments on stem cell therapy, real stem cell therapy, or you want to talk about it in general, of course, we never limit conversation, but certainly call in. I have a couple emails and then on that we'll get to. And then we also have a common man in the studio who used a public adjuster. You know, this is why he came here. If you listened last hour, we didn't tell you why he's here. But, you know, I say, hey, you ought to come in and share your story. So Lionel's here, and it's really a good story.
50,000 good story.
Yeah, 50,000. And I'll get to him in a second here. But Marnie, I'm very interested. Marnie simply wants out of her AT&T contract. And listen, I get what she's going through. I one time had an account with Verizon, and I switched to AT&T. I love AT&T Cellular. I got out of Verizon. They got too expensive, but worse. Verizon's coverage, because so many were using it, you had dropouts and poor coverage. I hated it. And still to this day, I have someone next to me with Verizon. I have AT&T. I get better reception. Now, maybe that's because Verizon is so crowded. But anyway, getting back, well, in this situation, here's what happened to me. They said they canceled me, so I could not get online access anymore. Yet, I was still getting a bill. But when I went on to try to cancel, I couldn't get on because they said you have no account. So when I called them, they'd say, well, we assure you it's canceled. Then I'd get a bill the next month. Marnie is upset because she's being sent to collections. Now, she has since gotten cell phone coverage with another company, but AT&T billed her just on the 4th of this month, and she's afraid it's going to keep going. She got a final notice. She's got to pay or go to court.
She mentioned that...
Or, get collected on.
She mentioned DirecTV was a part of it. Ask her if she shipped back all of the equipment.
Did you ship back all the equipment, Marnie?
Oh, not only did I ship it back, but I did it immediately, and then I got an email from AT&T DirecTV saying, don't ship that old equipment back, recycle it.
Hold on a second. So they didn't even want it back?
No, and
okay.
I think I have a bill for $41. By the way, it was last month is when this happened. I said
so you didn't get a bill for May yet, right?
Not for May, but I got one for April when I canceled.
Okay.
Per their instructions.
I understand. So is that all you're disputing? Is one bill?
Well, two bills, because I don't even know what the $41 is for. And nobody will talk to me unless I give them my full Social Security number.
Why do you need to give your Social Security number?
No.
Okay.
They can't find my account
Marnie,
number.
Marnie, if that's the only problem, I will tell you this, okay? If it was me, I'd give them my Social Security. If you're going to listen, if you're going to make a line in the sand, you have a perfect right to do that. And then just whatever happens, happens. Here's what will happen. They'll take you to court to try to get the money. You can go at that time and then sort it out with the judge. I'm serious, Marnie. You know, the days of me caring about who has, I don't just give information on the phone to anyone, but if it's truly AT&T or truly Verizon, and you know you're talking to them, and they're having a problem locating your account, I would give it to them. But that's me. If that's your only problem, listen, I don't know what to do about it. Let's put it that way. Then don't. Then don't. Then don't. Okay? They're not going to do anything with it, but don't.
It's going to end up on your credit.
I mean, Marnie, you have a right. Listen, you certainly have a right not to use it and not to give it to them. Okay? And then if they can't find your account to straighten this out, then you'll just have to wait, because here's what's going to happen. It'll end up in collections. Then you can try to negotiate with them. But I can't call them and force them to find your account. Is it screwed up? Yes, it's screwed up. I don't know why they can't find your account. Did they look by name? Did they look by phone number? Did they look by every other means? Address?
Yes.
But they can't find it.
They should have been able to find me with my last four of my social. But I think it's retaliatory.
Well, tell me this. Do you think, Marnie, I want to, let's just get right to it. Do you think they want your social so they can do something bad to defraud you? I'm just asking straight up. Are you just, for lack of a better word, are you just being a pain? You don't want to give it, so there. That's it. I'm not going to give you my social.
It's not that. It's that I kept being asked by the offshore.
What the hell do I care about offshore? What do you care? Listen.
About them having my Social Security, I care a lot.
It's AT&T. Okay, then don't. See you, Marnie. I wish I could help you. I can't. You know what? I am not, seriously, going to waste my staff's time by trying to accommodate Marnie because she feels uncomfortable giving out her Social Security number. I'm not going to do it. It's not worth my time. I'm sorry. That's our new attitude here. We're going to try to help people who need help. I can't possibly waste the time. People might say right now who are listening, well, you know what? I wouldn't give mine either. Then don't. Then don't. But we're not going to help you. We can't. If a company insists on having your social, now, I wouldn't give my social if somebody calls and says, hey, we'd like to make sure it's you. Can you give us your social? No. But if I call a company and I know it is a company I've dealt with and they want to cross-reference with my social, more power to them. Now, you're asking, what about giving that to somebody offshore? No matter who and where you give your information, anyone, anytime, anywhere can use it. Your doctor's office, your dentist, your lawyer, your accountant, anyone. So why worry about them? Worry about everyone. You're not going to keep it secret. Here's the most important weapon against fraud. Avoid obvious phishing scams, but also vigilance. watch your credit reports, watch your bills, your statements. That's the best form of security. Eric wants to talk about Uber Freight. I didn't know they're doing it right now, Uber Freight. I thought that was something they're developing. Are they actually they're actually doing it right now?
I'm not sure how much they're doing.
Eric, hang on. And then Janelle, scammed on housing, plus Dr. Chris Centeno and his story, and then our story about a public adjuster and how you can profit from that. 303-713-TALK.
Moving together in the world.
So they do moving stuff?
Any freight, any logistics. Not to be confused with linguistics.
No, that's amazing. They're doing freight.
Yeah, big time. So, you know, a little self-operator now can just kill it, man. Think about it.
He had a cousin, he was an over-the-road trucker, and he was doing this years ago, where his company would call up and try to get a load. He dropped something.
There have been independent truckers for years that do that, and they do freight forwarders and brokers. They just deal with it. But this is going to put those brokers out of business.
I agree.
And well, it should,
With more
because some of
than
those brokers
6,000
are
hotels across the
dirtbags.
country, including La Quinta, Days Inn, and Super 8. A great hotel by Wyndham is
5 seconds.
Find one near you and book direct at wyndhamhotels.com.
K&H Home Solutions is rolling out the Sign and Save Spring Sale for May. And here's what I love about this special. If you're doing home improvements, please consult K&H Home Solutions. Here's what they're going to do. They're going to give you 25% off your entire purchase, 25% off. And then, and that's windows, doors, and siding. But on top of that, you're going to get a free upgrade to triple pane glass. Now, that is a lot of energy savings. So you're going to save not only the 25%, not only the free upgrade on your windows, all of them, but you're also going to save in energy bills because it keeps the cold out, it keeps the hot out, it keeps whatever you want inside. KHWindows.com is the website where you can make your own appointment. KHWindows.com, or call them with any questions. They also have financing available. 303-421-7100. 303-421-7100.
Taking our resort to the next level at Isle Casino Hotel Blackhawk. Get ready for a whole new guest experience with the hottest new games, award-winning dining, and luxurious rooms.
They've made a bunch of deals with people like gas stations and
that's wonderful.
Maintenance places.
Man. Casino Blackhawk, our sister property located right across the street. Visit LadyLuckBlackhawk.com to book your
5 seconds. You know, when you're approved for a mortgage, you assume, okay, that's cool, I'm approved. Now, what you don't understand is how are those origination fees set and all of those other fees set? They're set by your credit score. You know, you get a better credit score, you get better pricing, even though you're approved. So that's why Ideal has what's called credit optimization. Even though you're approved, they take a look at things that might trigger an algorithm to make your score lower, and then they tell you what to do to change it to make it higher, like changing an address or correcting an address or paying down a balance by just $40 or $50. They know what it takes to raise your credit score. It's called credit optimization, which gives you better pricing, and they do it free, they do it fast, they do it every time. Plus, you have the rate guarantee. If rates go down for any reason over the next 2 years, they will refinance you free of charge. So whether buying or refining your ideal home loan with idealhomeloans.com, 303-867-7000.
Is your garage door making weird noises? This is Dave Logan. If you're having issues with your garage door, call Don's Garage Doors, the only garage door company I personally endorse. I've used Don's Garage Doors in my home, and folks, you should too. Your garage is the entrance to your home, and you want somebody you can trust. Next time you need a garage door repair or replacement,
we need Vietnam and some of these other places to step up.
Oh, I think they are.
They are, but they can't build. They can't build all these factories that quick.
Right.
But I think ultimately this will be good because China's creating other Chinas right now that don't cheat.
The biggest thing in China, they force anybody to come into the country to give them their.
Yeah, I know. That's everything. All of their stuff for them to manufacture.
Well, that's when we talk about fake iPhones. The reality is most of them are truly real iPhones, but they're going out the back door and being sold on the black market. But they're made in the same factory as the iPhone.
Sold.
Oh, yeah.
But then can't carriers keep them from going on?
Not in China. Well, they don't. I mean, that's the whole thing.
But they out and out just build them and send them out the back door.
Not just those, anything.
Now, are they? Well, doesn't India do that with pharmaceuticals?
Probably.
Subject to qualifying credit approval, minimum purchase price.
I'm sure it's done everywhere, but China's like, there's no punishment there. It's a problem.
Well, they say they're cracking down. They're just not doing it fast enough.
They wouldn't agree to it in this deal that almost got done. That was one of the main things.
Pharmaceuticals are a big deal. I mean, why can you pay $10 for an antibiotic from a dog and $400 for a person, and it's the same thing?
Or even worse so, how come it's so much cheaper in Canada? That drives me insane.
Well, hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter, 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. Okay, let's talk. You went to a public adjuster because Mark suggested it. Lionel Valier, let's talk about your first experience with your insurance company. What was the damage?
The damage, this was in June of 2018 from hail. So I had a hail damage.
And did they offer you anything?
I called up my insurance company. They came in and sent 2 adjusters to my roof, and they offered me $3,200.
$3,200 for the hail damage.
That's correct.
And who's your carrier?
The insurance company is Safeco.
Safeco, not a bad company. But Mark said, for the hell of it, we have a public adjuster. And for those who've listened to this show, you know that I recommend public adjusters in all cases. Now, they work 2 ways. They'll take the loss from the beginning all the way through for 1 commission because they work harder. But if you get an initial settlement, they'll take it for another lower commission, but of the secondary part. So of only what they get more of. In other words, if you get a settlement for 10 grand, that's yours. If they get you 20, they take a small piece of the extra 10. Or they can go from the very beginning. Now, big commercial settlements, big commercial jobs, insurance claims, they usually want someone in from the beginning. And there's nothing wrong with that. And they work for it. And they'll still get you more money than you'll ever get on your own. So here we said, hey, Lionel, what the hell? Let's see what Matt can do over at Paragon Services on our referral list at referrallist.com. What happened? What did he do?
So I called Matt up, and he said, yeah, I'd like to look at it. So he came up from Colorado Springs, looked at the roof, and said, yeah, you've got substantial damage. And he said, let's look at the rest of your house, which the other adjusters didn't. He looked.
No, they don't. They never will.
He looked at the siding. He looked at the windows. He looked at my fence. He looked at the benches. And he also looked at my nightlight. And he found damage on all of those.
And what was he able to get?
Well, long story short, my $3,200 went up to $53,248, and I still have him working on this, so we're not done yet.
Now think about this, okay? I want you to hear what he just said. He was offered $3,200 from his insurance, and he ended up getting 55 grand, and may get more. Now you might think, oh, Tom, that's going to raise the price for everyone, blah, blah, blah. That is BS, okay? BS, because here's why. Insurance companies have been doing this for years, okay? They have surpluses of more than $1.3 trillion. That's their surplus. Now, they take in annually in premiums $1 trillion. They have in assets $3.8 trillion, more than all countries in the world except 2, the U.S. and Japan. So think about this. This is what we're looking at. So these guys, don't let them cry. And in fact, Allstate said in a public meeting, our first responsibility is to our stockholders.
Well, it should be, though.
Okay, fine. Then my responsibility is to consumers. And I'm going to make a statement here, and I defy anyone to tell me differently. you will never, ever, ever get a fair settlement nor 100% settlement of what's truly damaged when your insurance adjuster comes out there. Never. You will never get it. Never. I mean never. In fact, it is a line item. Their entire industry is predicated on not paying 100% of damages. They have a line item for fighting claims. So I don't want to hear, I'm not even going to hear from one person who's going to feel sorry for insurance companies and tell me that I'm wrong.
And then in the background, they're the good hands people, and they're there to help you and everything else. Meantime, all they do is screw you.
Yeah. And the other thing, not only that, but then when it comes to health insurance, you know how I feel there. So insurance companies are a detriment to society the way they're operated right now. We need them because we must aggregate risk among a large pool and charge for it. And I would love for them to make profit. I'm not talking about that. That is a necessary thing. But what has happened to that industry has corrupted it.
It's because a lot of it, though, is because the government allowed them.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Eric.
Yes, sir.
Uber Freight is a really great concept. Hey, I need a load move from here, to Kansas City, from Denver to Kansas City. I go on this app like I do for an Uber ride, and I book my freight. I love the idea.
So here's what Uber Freight is doing.
Let me guess, you're a truck driver.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Here's the deal that you're going to find with Uber Freight. They're cutting prices on loads in some cases. In other cases, they are rebrokering existing loads. And this comes from guys who are...
Well, what do you mean by that? Tell me why I care.
Because basically you're making somebody not get paid their fair amount.
But you don't have to take the load.
He's just like a taxi driver. Though.
Right.
He's making the same argument that taxi drivers do.
But, Eric, you're right. You don't have to take the load, though. If they're not paying what you want to get, don't take it.
But what they're doing is they're not telling you they're rebrokering the load.
But what do I care? When you say rebroker...
Well, maybe you don't care, but tell them that, let's say tomorrow Clear Channel comes back and renegotiates your contract and says, hey, they're only going to pay, that they're going to lower what they're paying you, but they're not going to tell you how they're doing it.
But, Eric, that makes no sense. Would you do me a favor and tell me what rebrokering is? I'm not sure I understand it.
In other words, rebrokering, let's say one broker is charging $3,000 to move that load. Uber Freight is rebrokering it at a lower rate and keeping the difference.
Okay, now, so one broker is paying a certain amount, right?
Right.
And they are, so what's wrong with that? So they take it from this broker and they mark it up.
No, they're not marking it up.
What are they doing?
What they're doing is, let's say that you and Mark are brokers, are freight brokers.
Okay.
Mark is saying that this load's going to cost $3,000. That's what he tells the shipper.
Yes.
It's going to cost $3,000 to go from, say, Denver to Dallas.
Okay.
Uber Freight is taking that same load. They're brokering it for $2,500 to the truck driver, but they're going to collect the $3,000.
So what?
And they're pocketing the $500.
That's exactly what they do on regular Uber, though.
But Eric, really, all I care about, if I'm going to have a load made...
But the driver doesn't know that.
But who cares? You have no right to know it. If I'm...
Yes, you do.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
No,
you don't, Eric. You don't.
Actually, if you're being paid under...
Eric, listen, man.
According to the law, you do have a right to know what they are charging.
Eric, no, you don't. And you show me the law. Here's what I'm going to say. If I am paying you to take a load from Denver to Kansas City and you agree to the price, you have no right to know what I'm charging unless our contract says you're going to get a percentage of whatever I charge.
If you are quoting me a price, then yes, I do. That's how every freight broker works.
Eric, listen to what I'm saying. Okay, man, really, I'm not trying to give you a hard time. If I say, hey, Eric, I need this load, I'm brokering it, I need it moved from Denver to Kansas City, and it pays $2,000. If that's what it is, and you say okay, and then I charge $3,000 to the company or the shipper or the consumer.
But that's not what you're not hearing what I'm telling you. If let's say you and Mark are freight brokers, and Mark's charging the shipper $3,000, and and the shipper says, okay, I'll pay $3,000. You undercut Mark by $500, but you're taking the load from Mark. In other words, I'm the truck driver. I call you and you're my broker, and you say, well, I got this load that pays $2,500.
Right.
And I say, okay, I'll take it.
Right.
You turn around and you go to Mark and say, hey, I'm taking this load for you for $3,000.
Right.
And then you're going to turn around and give the load to me for $2,500.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If I go to a broker who's charging $3,000, and I go to a trucker and I say, here's a load, I'm paying $2,500, and I keep the $500 spread, I have done nothing wrong. I've done nothing wrong, Eric. You don't have to take the load if you don't think $2,500 is fair.
But I don't know what
it
that load originally was.
It doesn't matter that you know, Eric. Have you heard of free enterprise? It doesn't matter. The only time, Eric, the only time it would matter, seriously, listen, because I think we're agreeing. If my contract says you get 80% or 90% of whatever I collect, then I would be violating it. But if I just tell you, I have a load, can you take it for $2,500? What difference does it make?
Because you're taking money, because if that driver actually went and researched farther, he might find, and this is how guys are finding this, is that other brokers have the exact load for a higher price.
So what? Go to Amazon and try to buy something, and there are other retailers with the exact same product. Eric, you're making no sense. What you're saying is you're pissed off that somebody thought of it.
Because they're repricing loads, and drivers are losing money on these loads.
Well, then don't take it. If a driver takes a load, what?
But people don't know.
Eric,
most drivers don't know that.
Eric, if you take the load and you know you're losing money, you're not losing money. You're just not making as much as you could make if you did it directly. Man, I'm telling you.
But that lead might not be there as well, so it doesn't make sense on that.
I'm sorry. He makes absolutely no sense. If I am a broker and I go to Mark, and Mark says, I have a load for $3,000, and I say, Mark, I'm going to take it. Then I go out and find somebody to take it for $2,500, even though the shipper's willing to do it for $3,000. That's up to me. You don't have to know that. There's no one in the world who would agree that you have to know it. I mean, you're upset that the guy's making a spread and that you could have gone directly to that broker instead and gotten it for $3,000, but you didn't. Why is that? That's so illogical.
So all Uber Freight is a big master broker. 1 minute. That's all they are.
All Uber Freight is exactly what Uber is now. They take a spread off everything the driver does.
Right. But it's a broker that covers the U.S. Yeah, it's a trying to use their name recognition to get people to.
And they're going to do great at it. Yeah. There's no doubt about it, because their technology part is the best part. You happen to be driving empty through a small town, it pops up, hey, you want to take this load?
Right. Well, that's what brokers
no one else. No, but they can't do it real time. They don't have that platform.
But I mean, like say,
they're old school.
Independent truckers do call in to the broker and say, "Hey,
he's upset that he didn't. They're just rebrokering. He's saying I could have gone and got the 3 instead of the 2,500, but he didn't.
Well, not only that, brokers right now, before Uber, had to make money somehow by doing the spread.
Okay, guys. You know, when I represent a company, I make sure I know them. I've known George for 20 years. And he owns Fix-It 24/7 and guarantees that you'll never get the same work done at a better price ever anywhere. And I really want you to compare. You're talking about a true company here. And this company, there's a reason they're fast growing and people love them, because they go far beyond what they need to do. If you get a $39 AC check up and clean right now, you will be astounded at the level of service. They will take it apart to the extent they can. They will clean the coils and condensers and check all of the pressures. You will never believe how good your air conditioner can work. And of course, if they find any problems, they will honestly present you with all options. 720-526-3939. They mean it when they say you will not find better service anywhere. And you just have to experience to believe it. Listen, I've told you about good people. I'm telling you about Fix-It 24/7. 720-526-3939.
You know, Jack in the Box was the first I saw something. You walk in, you can order everything directly from the kiosk. The only thing that they haven't automated yet is the thing that makes the French fries, which would be simple, and, you know, compared to most shit, and a robot that makes the burgers, than a simple delivery method. Honestly, there shouldn't be any. And I don't want humans in my fucking food.
Well, but here's the downward spiral, right? Everyone's concerned about, you know, people not earning a living wage. So you push the wages up, which then causes more financial incentive to automate,
to go
which
technology.
then causes more unemployment, which then causes more people saying we need to raise the living wage.
Well, that's exactly what happens.
It's a death spiral.
Because right now, you're going to have capital to create the robots, no matter how you look at it. They're available. McDonald's has to say to all their franchisees, you have to do this, or whatever they want to do for a new franchise. But there's still a number. If we hire people, it costs this much over this amount of time. If we hire these, we don't get our capital expense back for this amount of time. Once that number makes sense, they put the capital in. I mean, that's everybody. It's like renting and buying. If you can own the house and it's going to appreciate compared to renting, then you generally would own it if you can.
This is not a time.
But the minimum wage, what that, like say, if it is, they're paying $8 and they want to go to 15. Now what are they doing to managers who are making 16?
Well, look at Colorado, though. Colorado is working very well because it's supply and demand on our labor.
Right.
We don't say it has to be 15.
Right, exactly. And that's how it should be.
It should be supply and demand.
If you're accused of any crime.
Because if you got a crappy worker.
Tommy, all I wanted to ask you today is, are you built Ford tough?
And thank God they're at-will states here. Can you imagine having to hang on to a shit employee? I just can't imagine it.
Although, I tell you, in Europe, that's the way it is. Trying to get rid of someone is like trying to get rid of someone, a government worker.
Or a tenure professor.
There you go, a teacher. That's a perfect example of a tenure teacher.
No, it's getting really weird.
They take care of you. 303 Pro Auto is the phone number. It's also
New York, they don't know what to do, man. Their deficit's out of control. And they try to blame just the Trump taxes out there. But they're the ones that have such high property taxes already. And now they're like, oh, well, now that they can't deduct them, they're still the ones that implement it.
The rest of the country was subsidizing it.
Well, and that's why this is working so well, because you got, you know, people leaving New York, California, Jersey, they're all coming here, they're all going to Texas, they're all going to all these other spots.
If that homeless thing passed here, man, it would have been a nightmare. Although mushrooms are now
now they're not legal.
Delegalized,
decriminalized,
which is still. I don't know what to say.
Have you seen that documentary? It's on YouTube. Seattle is dying.
Oh my God!
Oh yeah.
The picture, same with San Francisco, but Seattle is nasty.
And those a lot of people that did that were liberal.
They spent
got totally pissed off.
King 5 or something. They're big. Well, they're big TV stations. But it was really
the feces. There's more feces around than like anything.
It was really well done. Just talked about, hey, we're doing this for all these meth addicts, but we're not addressing the meth addiction.
The homeowners and the people paying taxes.
They were moving into graveyards to live. The homeless.
Nice.
But Boulder's right there, man. I live in Boulder. It is right there.
Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. Listen, I want to make something clear. We are here to help people and to discuss finances and all of that, okay? But we also have opinions, and you may or may not agree with them. But on this broker thing, okay, if there is a broker, and let's just put it, because I have some comments here. If Mark is brokering a deal for $3,000, okay, just keep that. Let's just call it a trip. It doesn't matter where it is. Okay, this trip pays $3,000. Now, if the trucker goes to Mark before I get to him, the trucker can make $3,000. Any trucker can make $3,000. But I am going to rebroker, so I find it. And I say, hey, Mark, I'll take that load for $3,000. Then I go out and I find someone to do it for $2,000, or not two, but let's say $2,500. So now, Tom, I buy it from Mark, and I put it out there for $2,500. So Eric, that trucker, instead of going to Mark because he missed out on that, I got it first. He's upset that he's now getting this trip through me, and I'm only paying $2,500. He says he's losing $500, but he's not. He never had the $3,000. The $3,000 was an opportunity, but he didn't get there. Now hold on. If I buy a house, much the same thing. I can take a house that's being listed. I've done it. I did this with a commercial property. It was being listed for a certain amount of property money. I found a buyer who was willing to pay more, substantially more. Do you know what I did? I went to closing, and I signed the paperwork and handed everything over to the second guy. That second guy sitting there and just watched me make $100,000. And you know what? He understood it. I found the deal. I was able to close on it, or I was able to put enough money down to lock it up, and then he bought it. I assigned it right at the table. So I'm just saying that the idea of rebrokering is an American institution. What were you going to say, Mark? Sorry.
Well, it's the same as buying a hot dog at Sam's and selling it for more at a Carnival. There's no difference.
Well,
You're marking something up.
You're right, but it's a little different. It would be like, okay, the guy at Sam's is selling a hot dog, right? Then I have a hot dog stand out in the parking lot. And when the people go park the car, they buy my hot dog for $3
instead of $1.50 inside.
No, they buy it for $3. Then they walk up to the store and see that the guy was selling them for $1.50, right? Now, can they be pissed at me? Not necessarily. I mean, go ahead, Roger. You have a comment on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a truck driver as well, and I've done freight brokering myself. And I've taken loads, and I've even brokered loads where sometimes there's 4 and 5 brokers in the middle.
Right, and you don't feel screwed, do you? Do you feel screwed?
No, that driver has absolutely no idea what he's talking about, because I, as a shipper, could pay $3,000 to you, and then you pay Mark $2,500, and Mark pay another broker $2,000, and that broker pay a truck driver $1,800. If the truck driver doesn't feel that he's making money, then, like you said, don't take it.
Hey, Roger, I want to ask you something. Do you know of any law that requires the guy to tell what the original contract is paying?
Not if it's a flat rate.
Right.
Only if it's done by percentage.
Right.
And now, let's say I, as the shipper, pay $3,000 to Mark.
Right.
And then Mark pays you percentage.
Yeah.
And then you pay a percentage down to the truck driver. The truck driver can only know up to Mark.
Right.
Because that's where the percentage stops.
Exactly. If I said I'm paying you 50% of whatever it pays, okay?
Right.
Then I would be obligated to tell you what it pays if it was based on what is paid. Chris, what's your comment, sir?
Well, I mean, that guy is nuts. So I don't understand where he was coming from. But if that's the case, there's a law that says you have to do that. That would mean, for like me, I own a window cleaning company.
Yeah.
And when I get busy, I have some other window cleaning friends of mine that I sub work out to.
Yeah.
They don't know how much I'm charging the customer, and I won't tell them how much.
Exactly. That's exactly right, Chris. Thank you very much. Now, B, I think, is going to be more for Mark than me. B, what do you need?
Yes. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, B, what can we do for you?
I have a question. My husband and I, and this might play a role, and I'm going to tell you, we're 10 years apart. He's 61, just turned 61, and he took out he has an annuity.
Yes.
And he took it out of a high-risk stocks and put it into low risk, and the company Prudential that is handling it put it in a money market account that's earning 1.9, and they told him he'll only make money, but he'll never lose money. Is that a good account?
Well, okay, now listen, that depends on what else you can do with the money. People always ask, is this good, is this good? Now, if, for example, you get a low-bearing interest, right, yet it has the benefit of never going down, and it has the benefit of being liquid, then you make that evaluation. For example, it all has to do with risk and reward. Let's say a guy says, hey, we make as much as 12%, but we have a risk of losing money. That's another thing. There are annuities, for example, that are called ratcheting annuities that ratchet up, and once you ratchet up, it can never go down again, and it keeps ratcheting, and the highest point is where you stay, yet there are some disadvantages to it. it really depends on what you want, B. Are you satisfied with that return? I mean, there are people satisfied with a secure 3%. There are some that would never think of anything but 10%. But I'll tell you what we'll do. Mark, you like high returns, but at the same time, you must have some money where that you keep in different kinds of accounts. You don't have everything at risk, do you?
No, of course not.
So what do you think?
Well, I mean, I guess everything's at risk.
No, I
got a lot in real estate. We know that can go up and down.
But what about this account she's talking about?
I don't like annuities of any kind.
Now,
period. End of
B, is this an annuity?
Yes.
And it pays 1.9. Is that right?
Right now it does.
Which means it's probably not liquid coming out of that account.
You're saying right now. Does it vary?
No, because we took it out of high risk, and he was making about $40,000 every quarter, but then he made a little over $40,000.
How much do you have invested?
$300,000.
Okay, and you're telling me on that $300,000 you had someone making you $40,000 every quarter?
Yes.
Oh, hold on. I'm smelling something here, and now he's converting you. Hold on, please. That woman is making $160,000 a year on $300,000. No, I don't even think their money's there.
I'll bet you're right.
Now we put him into an annuity.
Have you ever heard of that return? Would your money be with him?
What was his name? What was this guy?
Well, think of an annuity where you put $100,000 up, you can't touch it for X amount of years, and you make 1.6%.
Remember you showed me on that one annuity, but you get this much per month, and you said it would take you this many years just to break.
You were 18. You were fucking 90 years old before you broke even.
Right. So therefore, I could just put my own.
Those are the annuities that blow me away that people get involved in.
This sounds like a Bernie Madoff.
You give $100,000 to someone, and they basically give you your own money back over a 20-year period, and you never make any money on it. It's crazy. It's all because it puts them at ease because they have a constant influx of cash. I think they're afraid they'll spend it. I think that's the reason people buy it.
SimplyFloorsInc.com. Right now, you can get in on some very cool stuff with Simply Floors Inc. Here's what I'm talking about. He has new low-cost financing, better than credit cards, special discounts from $250 to $1,000 off of all Shaw floor coverings. Depending on the job, it's from $250 to $1,000. And this just in. Very special pricing on new Pergo Extreme LVT. You got to learn more about that. The most durable one on the market. 303-456-4660. Or simply go to simplyfloorsinc.com. Yeah.
She could have doubled her money in 2 years with that.
She did, apparently.
So now she has
Now, this first quarter of this year, we made 35-40%.
Yeah, but every quarter.
But I got the fuck out, too. Right now, we're not making shit. Right now, we're just in protection mode.
You know one you really missed? Beyond Food. Beyond Meat.
I saw that. It was up, 3-4%.
Denver Egress Window is the only company that specializes in these window wells, we call them. They are the windows that are there for protection, but they add durability and beauty by rebuilding those old window wells and windows or putting in brand new ones so you can use that square footage legally. DenverEgressWindow.com does a beautiful job. DenverEgressWindow.com. 720-626-4221. 720-626-4221.
Okay, have you ever tried it?
No.
What?
Beyond Beef.
That just IPO.
What is it?
That went three times. No,
they make fake meat, tofu, whatever you call it.
I don't give a shit. That'll never be real.
Well,
God, it looks good.
I know it's.
What do you mean? You see pictures of the meat?
Yeah.
It's made from.
I just had never tried it. I had no idea.
It's actually catching on. A lot of people are starting to buy some stuff.
Does it taste as good as a hamburger?
Hell no! Nothing's going to taste as good as a hamburger. Jesus.
I agree to that, man.
I haven't seen it in grocery stores either. So you bought it?
It's in 33,000 grocery stores now.
You know, I don't doubt, though, that's...
Here, I'm going to enter into the zip
I
code.
don't doubt that's a really popular...
We should do a fame or shame and get some and cook them right on the air.
Why don't we do that? Why don't we start doing
I'm
Mark,
seeing where they are.
Mark, we were talking about shit. We have to have our people in, though, to do it. I want to have people in.
That'd be perfect for Car Friday. Auto technicians trying a hamburger.
Or, no, that, but I'm saying in other consumer juries, we have people come in.
Super Target sells Beyond Meat, the Beefy it's called, and the Beyond Burger. Which one do you want to do? I'll pick them up and let's do them Friday. And we'll see if the car guys, you know, the real guys,
where are we gonna
can taste the difference. Little George Foreman Grill. We'll do them right outside here. We'll cook them right out here. Just like I did the dollar steaks. We cooked them right outside. And those I'll never get again.
Does it say what they cost? I mean, per pound?
Or we can do them in the office and run them up. You know,
Jeez, I don't know. They're going to fucking steak. You know that. I don't know if we want to do that. I think we just cook them right outside.
Or out on the patio. What I'm saying is, Mark, I don't think...
Oh, right off of Mike's office.
Yes. It doesn't have to be eaten like in 5 seconds. And, you know, we can... Let's plan something. I have a Foreman grill. Where is it? Did I bring it in here?
You did bring it at one point.
Did I give it away?
No, you gave it to me. I'll bring it in. I've never used it.
I'm glad I gave it away, because here's why. I hate wasting stuff. Do you know anyone who can use a really, really nice, brand new coffee maker? Not because I use Keurig. I don't use it anymore. It's a new drip coffee maker. I hate throwing
I'll bring
things
that in.
You know what? Here's the problem with today's society. It's a throwaway society. I hate throwing things away.
Okay, here we go. Here's prices. Here's Beyond Meat. How many pounds is this? Let's see what it is.
The last chance to save thousands in interest. Take AIM, affordable interest mortgage.
So it's the humane way to eat meat.
Have you applied for
God damn, look at all the saturated fat, though.
Is it really?
20%, man, of daily value. That's a lot, isn't it? 400 milligrams of sodium.
That's in the fake shit?
It's almost like they got rid of the meat, but put in everything else in the world.
Is protein in it?
How much protein is that?
20 grams.
Yeah.
Getting 630K POW from iHeartRadio.
How big is this?
They put all that other stuff in there for the flavor.
I don't know where
It's like peas and soybeans.
So here's the ingredients. Water, number 1. Pea protein isolate.
Fuller is someone you should talk to. Free of charge.
The rest is fucking expeller, pressed canola oil, refined coconut oil, rice
all of that's
protein,
good for you.
apple extract, salt. There's a lot of fucking salt in that.
All right. We have some email for Dr. Chris Centeno stem cell. I got to get you, but I want to finish up with B. But B, there's way more to this. And I want to encourage people to call in, because after B, we'll have full open lines at 303-713-TALK. B, I need to ask straight up here. This is important. How long were you making 30 to 40 grand per quarter?
Not very long. It's just been the last, the last few couple of quarters.
So
I wanted to say that we made, that he made like 42,000 or 38,000 the third quarter of 2018. Then he lost 42,000 the last quarter.
How do you know this person? How do you know this person?
It's done through employment.
Oh, okay. So it's a legit deal. It's not just some person.
Right.
Okay. And when you say he made, who are you talking about?
Alex, my husband.
Okay. And he invested it. Did he direct it?
Did you direct it? We don't know.
Or was it just in a stock fund?
Yes.
Okay.
50% aggressive.
I understand. Okay, I understand what you did. That's pretty damn good. Okay, now you're thinking about putting it in, all of it into an annuity?
Well, it is an annuity, and they stuck it into a money market because, or he did, because he's fixing to retire.
But an annuity, how much is the annuity going to pay monthly?
I'm not sure.
What I'm getting at is, annuities are tricky because they tell you about a return, right? And then they tell you about how much, but you can't get the money out. You have to take monthly installments. And if the monthly installments turn out to be too many years to even break even, what good is it? It's not a good thing. I mean, are you restricted on what you can withdraw?
No. Because when they told him when he retired that he could take it out in a lump sum or in, like, payment.
He can.
Yeah.
But how many years till he retires?
He's 61. He wants to go out between 62 and a half and 65.
And then it'll be liquid for him, and in the meantime, it makes what, 1.9?
Yes, and the only reason that he did that is because he's been told that as he gets ready closer to retirement, he doesn't want to be playing so aggressive.
No, I understand that. Here's what we need to do. We have people on our referral list, APO Financial, really good people. And they do safe, conservative investing on that. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to send us the annuity contract. Seriously, a copy of it. If there is no annuity contract, never do it. There are too many moving parts. You must have an annuity contract to see exactly what you can do and not do. And we'll have APO take a look at it, APO Financial. B, that's really and truly one of the smartest things to do is to get that contract and get the advice. One thing you never want to be restricted, and this is for anyone, is getting at your cash. Because if you're restricted to monthly distributions, it could end up that it will outlast you and you'll never even break even, so it doesn't matter how much money it's been making. Okay, stick around. We're going to start out with Dr. Chris Centeno and stem cell therapy on some of these email questions and more coming up on the Troubleshooter Network.
You know, Capital One has a 1-year CD right now at 2.7%. So why they would do whatever she's talking about makes zero sense. Look at all these. They're all 2 to 3%.
Was it 30-something grand and down?
In Capital One, they don't even care at the bottom. Offer details. That's always kind of. No, there it is. Right. 1 year minimum deposit, nothing.
20 years in business. 303-410-7787. 410-7787.
That's what Ameritrade should do. They should, while you're sitting in cash, they should at least give you a couple percent.
Issues with your garage door? Call Don's Garage Doors, the only garage door company I personally endorse. I've used Don's Garage Doors in my home, and folks, you should too. Your garage is the infrastructure.
How much did you end up spending out of that 50? Did you put it all back into the house?
No, I'm working on it right now. I mean, I've got my roofer, got my gutter people, got my painter, all that's supposed to start on the 20th and start painting the house.
Cool.
Took a long time to coordinate all this. And to get the money.
Yeah, it was good. You took it nice and slow.
And Icon Eye Care made me a believer. You see, I was tired of wearing glasses and my eyes.
I missed a couple. I know one house I probably left 20 grand on the table after a storm.
Yeah,
I just didn't know it existed.
Yeah, I just talked to Matt last week because I don't think they allowed me near enough for the gutter replacement and a couple of other things.
How did we talk? Did we talk through email or?
Through email.
What did I say?
I had heard Matt's, you talked about Paragon Services, and I emailed you and said, can I have the contact information? And you emailed me back and said, yeah, that's Matt Stanford for Paragon, and you said he's a good guy. That's what you said. Young guy, very easy to work with.
I've had a couple people that honestly, they go, well, I don't want to take advantage of the insurance company. And it absolutely baffles me hearing that. It just is so baffling. The insurance company have spent so much on advertising, they've convinced these people they're loyal to them, and there's no loyalty at all.
Oh, these guys, when they first gave me that first estimate, 2 guys came in, and they brought an adjuster from Texas up, who probably had never seen a cedar-shaped roof before. And they brought another guy in who never identified himself. He said, oh, I'm just here kind of going along.
Which is bizarre.
It was. And then they sent it into an internal claims guy. His name was Mark, by the way. And said, well, can we send that check out to you? My wife said, absolutely not. My husband is not done with you guys yet. So we didn't want to settle with him at that point.
Anyway, he says, well, he says, I'm going to have to move this up if you don't agree with this. So they moved it on up to this guy, and his name was Ron. Well, found out that Ron was the guy that came out that didn't identify himself before.
Oh, that's
Oh,
bizarre.
it was bizarre. They never identified themselves. So and I said, no, we're not going to do this. So that's when I finally got a hold of Matt and said, Matt, I need some help here. They're really kind of jerking me around.
And it was Safeco.
Safeco. And then finally, Matt got a hold of them, and they sent 2 more adjusters out. They sent an adjuster out from Safeco, and she got up there, and she says, I'm waiting for my ladder assist. I said, well, what's the ladder assist? Well, it's kind of for liability purposes. Never really identified this. So this other guy gets there, climbs up on the roof, and he's up there looking at every single shingle, like this cedar-shaped roof, looking at every single shingle. And finally gets down on the ground after about an hour, hour and a half up there. I said, who are you, and what are you doing? Well, I'm a ladder assist. I said, what is a ladder assist? Well, he's just another adjuster. I mean, they never really identified that. I mean, they really pissed me off through this whole process.
You know who owns them is
Liberty, right?
Yeah.
Liberty Mutual. Yeah.
I had Safeco on a hail claim. I didn't have any issues that I know of. But.
Well, I've been with farmers for 25 years. I just switched to Safeco in March and saved about $3,000 in premiums because I had 3 cars, umbrella, and the house on there. Saved about $3,000. So here in 25 years, no claim with farmers, and 3 months I got a major claim with Safeco.
Life's a bitch.
That's the way it happens, right?
Yeah, especially when it's an act of God like that. It's not a, it's not like somehow you left the stove on and it burned the house down. It's a real deal. What got me is I waited on one in Castle Rock 6 months. I didn't see any rainwater or anything. I just never thought of it. All my neighbors were getting roofs. And I figured, well, my rates won't go up. All their rates are going to go up. Whole damn neighborhood went up, period. So it didn't matter if I filed a claim or not. So 9 months after I filed it, I said, screw it. If my rates are going up, I'm going to put the claim in now anyhow. And it ended up being a pretty damn big claim.
Well, one of my neighbors never filed a claim or never did anything until somebody said, Kurt, you really ought to have somebody look at your roof. And he had somebody look at it and said, yeah, you got
With more than 6,000 hotels across the country.
Just got to do it within a year of the day.
10 months later,
and Super 8. A great hotel by Wyndham.
And after he gets that first check,
find one near
you should call back too.
Yeah, I mean, I've got half, they've basically given me the half of the money right now.
Well, and you'll get your depreciation at the end.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that either. If they take and pocket the cash, you miss a shitload of money. Really what I do is I always take the claim money, then I play general contractor. And then I'll find a roofer, I'll find whatever, all day long.
That's what I've done. That's what I did last week.
You should be able to put on a 50, 60,000 claim, at least pocket 10 to 15, and still get all the work done, reclaim all the depreciation, everything. But really, you're playing. The reason you're putting that in your pocket is because you're your own general. I mean, literally, you're the one making it and creating the deals.
I've got to pay these guys when they're done.
While treating you with compassion and respect, 844 Larson Tax. Back taxes, failure to file, even audits.
I'll tell you what blows me away is how cheap my motorhome insurance is.
Yeah, that's because of the occasional use.
I guess so, man, but it is dirt cheap. I'd be better off driving that thing to and from work.
Except for the change manages on that aspect. Do you have a little electronic thing there?
My own. It's my own.
Why do you have it?
I don't know why. I just have one.
You get BioT.
He's got 10 cameras in his backyard.
BioT is really a way.
So if my dad or anybody ever uses it, I know where it's at. Plus, it tracks all the data. I mean, it literally tracks everything. It's
including cosmetic.
It's kind of cool. I can go access anywhere we've ever been in.
Revitalize health. And the important thing about the Hormone Bros is they do everything by blood testing. 720-361-23.
I'll never do one like from Progressive or another. I think I forget who we had. Allstate owns them.
E-Insurance.
Yeah, E-Insurance. They sent me one, and they said it would bring. It could bring it to 10% down. Well, let me tell you something. The main problem with them is they see how much you drive. And if you drive more than 10 or 12,000 miles a year, oh man, you're really screwing yourself. I do 30,000 miles.
On what?
My normal car.
30,000 a year?
I have. I'd say my average is 20.
That's a lot, but I guess
You probably do 20.
I don't know anymore. I live in town now, you know.
Well, that's true.
My whole life's changed.
I mean, I'm 30, 60, 250, just working back each week. 250 times 52. What is that? 2, 10, 5, 0, 25, 12. That's 14,000 basically.
How far?
I'm 62, 63 round trip. So 31 each way. It's not that bad, I mean, honestly. Traffic's not horrible.
Do you live down south?
Yeah, I live Franktown, which is like, you know where that is.
Yeah. Traffic was terrible coming down here as well.
No, it's not bad. Usually I leave the house at 6:45, 7.
Once I hit I-25 with 36, it was just stop and go the whole way down here.
Oh, Boulder Turnpike sucks, man.
This one morning.
But then as soon as you hit 25, right?
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, we're seeing that,
and pretty much the whole way.
I wouldn't think people were going to work that late, because I was on it like at 9:30. Who's going to work at 9:30?
Once I got past 6th Avenue, it would get better, and once I got past Santa Fe,
if I go to Boulder,
Tom Martino, the Troubleshooter.
Help me if you can, I'm feeling down.
Hi, I'm Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. Welcome to the only show where you'll find a discussion about life, everyday life. It's like the Seinfeld of consumer shows. You remember he used to say my show's about nothing? My show's about nothing, which means everything. Nothing special, right? Anything to do with your everyday aches and pains. The things that make you tick, the things that tick you off. And I always said, I used to say truth, justice, and the American way, like good old Superman. But you may be a Marvel guy instead of DC. Hey, speaking of superheroes, stem cells. They're laid out like superheroes. People say, oh, yeah, you just inject them anywhere. They go magically to where they need to go, and they start knitting new stuff back together. And mostly the fake people over-exaggerate them. Now, I want to take your calls on anything, but I am going to talk while I have a few minutes about this because this is very important. Stem cell therapy will be eventually, I think, an alternative to most surgery. I don't mean most. I mean the orthopedic kind of surgeries, because I think more and more things are being developed. I foresee a time when nanobots are going to be used along with stem cells. I'm not kidding. They're already experimenting with nanobots, which are these little things you inject, and they will go to certain places. But I don't want to get too far ahead. I'm going to talk about that, too. I'm going to ask Dr. Chris Centeno. But I often say, Dr. Chris, I say that you invented stem cells. By the way, our number is 303-713-TALK, whether you're calling about stem cells or anything else. Dr. Chris, I say you invented stem cell therapy. I mean, really, what am I saying? Now, I read about you in the day doing this, one of the first, the first real consumer clinic. What did you do? I mean, did all of a sudden you say, I'm going to inject some stem cells? I mean, what did you do? I want to know, like, without, a lot of flowery detail. I want to know what you did.
Yeah, so back in 2005, we were the first clinic on earth to treat orthopedic conditions, common orthopedic.
But what gave you the thought to do it? I mean, what were you doing at the time?
I had met in 2004 with some guys up at CSU.
Yes.
Who were doing this work in racehorses.
Okay.
And we decided to transition it to a human model, and we started doing that work.
So they were using stem cells in horses.
Yeah.
And then when you said transfer to a human model, what did you do? Did you go to umbilical fluid? Did you go to a person's fat cells? What did you do?
Yeah, no, they had used fat and bone marrow. They didn't like fat. So we started using bone marrow based cells.
And how do you get stem cells from bone marrow?
You do a bone marrow aspirate. So that means you numb up the back of the hip, you put in what looks like a needle, and you pull out what looks like thick blood.
And then how do you get the stem cell?
You can then centrifuge that down and take off various layers, which are rich in stem cells.
And basically, when you get down to this fluid, what did you do with it back then?
Back then, we either just took the stem cells as they were and put them back in, or we were growing them to bigger numbers. Eventually...
Right, they said you couldn't do that because it would be a drug, right?
Right, the growing part we couldn't do, and so we just focused on taking those cells that were there.
How did you grow them? I don't quite understand that. How do you duplicate them? How do they grow?
How did you grow them?
Yeah, so we would take growth factors from a person's blood, what's called platelet lysate, put that in culture with the cells. The stem cells would preferentially attach to a surface, and then we'd discard the other cells and reseed them about every couple days into a larger flask. So they kept growing, growing, growing.
Yeah, and that's when the FDA said, listen, when you do this, it's a drug now. You've taken the normal cells and you've made it better. I mean, they weren't disputing it worked. They're just saying you can't do it without all of the stuff drugs are made of. Why hasn't anyone done that yet? Because you would think if they could literally do the clinical trials and go through the FDA testing and come up with stuff, why don't they do that? With that they could freeze and preserve and ship all over.
Because everyone's different, right? So then, therefore, every single one's a different drug?
No, I don't think so. I think they would have blood types. But go ahead. What about that? Why hasn't anyone made that leap?
It's coming. I mean, we're probably at this point about 24 to 36 months away from seeing the first true culture-expanded stem cell products hit the market.
So then that can be shipped then, the true stem cell product. The reason we say you don't get living stem cells now is because when they extract umbilical fluid, they preserve it, freeze it, send it. There are no cells at the other end.
Correct, yeah. When it comes to umbilical cord tissue, umbilical cord blood, Wharton's jelly, amniotic fluid, amniotic membrane, all that stuff that's on the market. There are no live cells in that. We've tested so many of those. It's kind of a running joke around.
Well, and Stem Cell Institute of America were flat out lying to people. They were. I mean, I'm not asking you to call people liars, but they were lying.
Yeah, let's just say that there were no living cells in any of that stuff. And now they've changed their tune, but there's lots of.
They call it regenerative now instead.
Yeah.
Now, here's the deal. If there is a vial of living stem cell therapy eventually approved by the FDA that can be shipped, will you continue to extract or will you use the active stuff?
You know, we've seen that the cultured cells work better in a certain number of circumstances.
Those are the extracted ones that
we grow out.
Yeah.
So maybe that's 10-20% of the patients we see.
Yeah. Can't you enhance even those, though, and make them even like super-duper stem cells?
You could, though, but the more you do to them, the higher risk that creates.
Because the FDA says you cannot manipulate them.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just throwing out the FDA right now. Not like you can do that. But, I mean, can't you basically clone a superstar like an athlete's stem cells are going to be better?
Oh, are you allowed to use? Okay, hold on a second. Can you use a donor for the stem cells? Is what he's asking.
So there are allogeneic, meaning other people's cell products that are going to be coming on the market as well. And
no, but I mean, can you?
Those they take young, an 18-year-old stem cells.
Can I take a donor with me to your clinic for the extraction and then treat me? Is that allowed?
No, that crosses a line they drew in the sand.
Okay, so that does not. So you can't bring a donor like a blood.
But you could do that out of the country.
Not that.
Yeah, you could do something like that out of the country.
They don't do that though.
But realize that at the end of the day, we're going to see products like that. Now, one of the
so let me get this straight.
In
the next 3 to 5 years, we could see literally these vials available to doctors who can treat people with active living stem cells.
Yeah.
Okay, instead of extraction.
Yes, I mean, it's coming down the pipe.
Okay, now, right now, you do have some offshore clinics. And I want to, because some people might want to do that. What do you do offshore?
Yeah, I mean, this Colorado site here is the headquarters for about 60 U.S. clinics and 7 international clinics.
Okay.
Of those 7 international clinics, we have several that, based on their local regulations, are allowed to grow cells.
To enhance them, really. When you say grow, you really want to do condensed numbers, right?
Yeah, grow them to bigger numbers.
Right. Okay.
So one of those closest to here would be Grand Cayman. That's a facility that a place that does allow to grow those cells.
So if people want to take a vacation to Grand Cayman, will you extract them from me and grow them, or are they already there ready to go?
No, they need to be extracted and grown down there.
But how long does that take? If I go down, can I get them extracted here and then go down to get them, or do I have to go down there for everything?
Go down there for everything, and it takes about 2 weeks.
So you would have to be there for about 2 weeks for you to grow a good number of them.
Yeah.
Do you get more results doing that? Better results?
In only about 20% of the things we treat. 80% of things we treat, it's not necessary.
Okay. So that is an option for about 20% of the cases.
Yeah.
But you're saying you don't have to go through that unneeded expense for others.
Yeah, and as I said, the vast majority of folks walking through the door, we don't even think need stem cells. We can treat them less expensively with other types of orthobiologics like platelet-rich plasma.
Okay, we have some questions for you coming up. So, Suzanne, could you ask them to hold on and we'll come? Plus B has a question on timeshares, and Martha wants to know how to donate a vehicle, all coming up.
This report is sponsored by Wyndham Hotels and Resorts.
Is DNA attached to
Your DNA.
Well, yeah, it would be HLA. So on the surface of a stem cell would be HLA antigens or proteins that would identify you. So if you try to put your cells into me, conceptually it should work. The problem being is that there's some new research starting to show that it probably doesn't work as well as we thought it would.
Why couldn't you take it from a horse and put it into a human? Would it adapt?
Well, yeah, that's just all back to now those proteins on the surface of the cell.
Okay, I'm going to be doing a spot.
How different they are from yours. The more different they are, the worse that's going to be.
So, of course, from a horse, you're going to be a lot different than a human. But even from an ape, then, for that matter. I mean, is he
Rocky's Autos, 63rd and Federal. A large selection of used cars, trucks, SUVs, and vans. But what I love about Rocky's is how they have one clear way of doing business, and there's no hocus pocus. The prices are clearly marked. When you want to buy that car, you'll know what it costs right then and there. If you have a trade, they subtract the value of the trade. And here's another deal. If you need financing, they have 40 lenders to choose from. And then you get to choose one. They will approve it right there, 100%. So when you leave, there's none of this BS where they call you back and say, oh, we made a mistake, we got to rewrite the contract, or you have to pay us for using the car, but you don't get to keep it. It's a straight deal with great prices, great traded values, 63rd and Federal. And that is 303-426-4646, Rockies.
I've seen a lot of stuff where they're saying they've taken human ones and put them into apes, and they're seeing it work. I mean, they're seeing different things
Some of the
work.
animal models do that. They'll take human cells and put them into an animal.
Correct, but not the opposite.
No.
Would your body just reject them, or could that create problems? A lot of problems.
Okay, I got another one. I'm sorry, guys.
I want to get some dog stem cells and put them on top.
Colorado Tinnitus and Hearing Center has given me relief and the gift of hearing, because I had a hearing loss. They can treat hearing loss. They can treat tinnitus. They can treat one or both. And, you know, many people think that tinnitus is a problem with hearing, and it's not. It's a neurological problem that they treat. Now, you can treat it through masking. You can treat it through they eradicate that area of the brain that generates that sound by doing a non-invasive therapy called Dysynchra. You know, here's the message. Colorado Tinnitus and Hearing Center can do what it takes to help you through tinnitus and hearing loss, and you get to try any treatment or device before you buy and commit to it. They're at Clarkson and Hamden. It's an urgent care building. Colorado Tinnitus and Hearing Center is on the second floor. 303-534-0163. They've helped me, and they can help you. 303-534-0163.
Your home, push the garage
Sorry,
door
guys.
remote.
I just wish that Trump would have got other countries together.
Well, like, this Chinese guy just did, it's like
Well, I gotta tell you,
half human, half ape thing.
we did a deal in Hainan, China for a clinic, and there was a royalty payment that we were negotiating for this clinic. And we thought the Chinese were freaking insane, the way they were negotiating. But what we learned, we hired an attorney over there who lives over there. He's like, no, this is totally normal Chinese negotiation behavior. You agree to something, and it's firm, and then they walk away from the table. And then you agree to something again, and it's firm, and then they walk away.
It's what they do.
It is part of how they negotiate
As a society.
yes, and so, as soon as we hired him, it all eventually got to where it needed to be. But if you just looked at the way they were doing it, they were doing exactly what the Chinese are doing.
What they're doing on the largest level.
With Trump, yes. It's just as the way it works.
That's interesting.
What is that?
Just how the Chinese negotiate.
Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter, 303-713-TALK. Val has a question for Dr. Chris Centeno. Go ahead, Val.
Yes, thank you for taking my call. The question is there a stem cell therapy for lung problems?
Yeah, Val, as far as stem cell therapy for lungs, there are some clinics that have been working with that and have tried to specialize in treating lung problems. There isn't much research that's been published, like there has been in orthopedics with the use of bone marrow cells.
But they're doing it.
But they're doing it.
What
Just be careful. I don't think anyone locally would have that expertise.
Yeah, and that's the thing, I think the message we want to get out is that some people, especially chiropractors who are using the fluids that are shipped in, they're going to tell you that you can just inject it in your arm. That's the biggest crock I've heard, but that's what they were telling me. I had this chiropractor, Dr. Dean Jones, tell me straight up, if he did a systemic injection, it would take care of everything. I mean, that's just downright lying.
Isn't there something to that, or no? Absolutely not.
Systemically.
Yeah.
Well, here's the interesting thing. Since we're talking about a lung problem, there's a pulmonary first pass. So what that means is 97% of those cells will end up in your lungs.
If you do systemic injection.
Correct.
Okay.
They won't get to your brain. They won't get to your knee, but they'll end up in your lungs. So
for lungs, that could be possible.
Yeah, the only thing that would actually work is lungs. Now, the problem is that if you're injecting dead cells, then you get dead cells in your lungs, so that doesn't help you very much.
But as far as intravenous use of general stem cells, living stem cells, they're not going to do you much good.
They're not going to go to your brain. They're not going to go to your knees. They're not going to go to your hip. They're not going to go to your spine.
What about, I hear about the diabetes research?
Yeah, I mean, it's all coming down the pike.
That's for bringing the pancreas back to life? Is that possible?
Or regenerating the pancreas, or reducing its insulin sensitivity, or I'm sorry, increasing the insulin sensitivity of the pancreas cells.
Right. Because, okay, so let's keep going here, not to get too technical. Mike, what is your question?
I'd like to know if there's any stem cell benefits to nerve damage. 2013, I had a discectomy in my back operation. Piece of disc broke off and laid against L4. L4 is dead. I have a drop foot on my left foot.
Oh, that's terrible. So basically, we get the picture. What about neurological issues like this?
Yeah, I think when you get to the point of a drop foot where you have actual nerve damage, it's unlikely that this type of treatment is going to help. If you have a surgical scar around the nerve causing motor problems, then that's something that we can help. But when it comes to this kind of late date, it's unlikely that a stem cell therapy would make a difference.
In general, I heard for neurological problems, they can help a bit, like for stroke victims. Have they been experimenting with that?
They have, and there's lots of good animal data that shows it should help really well, and there's some anecdotal information from people that have tried it.
So really, it's all still in what? It's still in research?
It's all still really, really early, and the problem is there are some areas where we know more, like in orthopedics, and some areas where we know a lot less. And the problem is right now is it's the Wild West out there. You got everyone using everything and anybody and claiming, the blind see and the crippled walk.
So if we were going to look for really good, accurate information on stem cell therapy in general, are there any universities or studies or institutions that we can rely on?
Yeah, the information is all over the place. But Tom, if you've got someone that's got a question, then ping me and I'll try to find someone who's knowledgeable.
So whether you've heard of it or not, and that's a good idea too. If they go to your seminars, do you take questions?
We do, yeah.
So people could say, hey, have you heard of this or heard of that? All right, so let's see. Martha needs to talk about vehicles. Martha, donating a vehicle, is that what you want to know?
Yes.
What kind, now, is it a running vehicle or is it junk?
Well, I wouldn't say it's junk. It's my mom and dad's minivan. It did run at one time, but it hasn't ran in probably 4 years. All it needs is a battery and maybe some engine work, but
I see what you're saying. There are many organizations. The one that I like is, do they still call it Step 13? Is that the name? Yeah, Step 13 had a wonderful program. I love them, and they, I think, take vehicles. We can find out for you.
That'd be great.
But there are others as well. I mean, it's a very popular thing. Now, some will take them in any condition. Obviously they don't want wrecks. But but if you hold on, I'll have Suzanne check out that Step 13. What's that they do? Yeah. Yes, Dan, did you find it? Do you have a number for us?
I've got a website.
Okay,
I do. It's 303.
Listen, Martha, 303
296
296
9020.
9020.
And it's called Step Denver now, Tom.
That's right. So I thought so. Step Denver. And thank you for giving me that, Suzanne. B, timeshares. What did you want to know about timeshares? They're financial herpes.
Tom, thank you. I was wanting to know, when we go to Vegas, we get approached a lot about timeshares.
I know. It's like a carnival.
Yeah, and I've heard they are really bad.
Totally. The worst investment you can make. Well, okay. You know what, B? You have friends that actually love them.
Mm-hmm.
What do they love?
They said that they can go on vacation and not have to pay for a room. Everything's already ready to go.
No, they're paying plenty for that room. I'll venture to say that with what they've invested and what they have to pay in maintenance fees and the risk they have for capital improvements and the lack of resale and the fact that they can never get out of it even if they want to give it away, I will venture to say, B, that you using Expedia or Orbitz or any one of them, you will beat it every single time. Every single time. So I don't know why you would ever strap yourself with it. Ever. And when people say they love it, when I get finished talking to them, they understand they have nothing. What they're doing is they're forced to go on vacation, and they're forced to use it or a similar unit that they trade for, and they have absolutely all obligation that why wouldn't you want to get the best hotel? I have gotten deals on the best hotels and never, ever, ever have to worry about maintenance or a lifelong obligation. I don't know.
So what are maintenance like?
Well, first of all, B, you don't own it anyway. So you own space. You don't own anything. And so what you're doing, you're paying $40,000 to $50,000 to get something that you don't own. You $40,000 to $50,000 for the privilege of paying annual maintenance fees, and all for what? 1 week at a hotel. So I don't understand why. Because if you took that 40 or 50 grand, or even if it's 10 or 20 grand, and you put it in a conservative investment, okay, and you take that money, it'll compound, it'll pay you, and you can use that money for vacations and never, ever, ever look back. So there's no reason. I mean, in fact, I don't even like taking the time. If people can't see that, I sometimes think maybe they just deserve to buy one. I'm serious, because it does take people of all kinds to make up an economy. And the guys who sell timeshares, they circulate that money just like everyone else. You know, and circulating money in the economy is a good thing. Keeping it in a bank is not a good thing. So, or in a pillow. I really think you got to look at it. There is no. How about this, B? There is not one benefit. So here's what you do. Okay, you tell me one benefit. Okay, one benefit. What is it? How much did she pay for it, your friend?
She's paying about about $200 a month.
On the financing part, right?
Yeah, $200 a month on the finance.
And then how much on the maintenance?
They don't know. They just got it.
Well, the financing, they just got it. $200 a month is to own something they're never going to own.
Wait till it needs a roof.
Now listen, $200 a month. That's $2,400 a year. Plus, they're going to have to pay at least $1,000 in maintenance. So that's $3,400. Plus, they don't own anything, and they're at obligation for any deductibles for insurance. Any capital improvements will be divided up. And it's not divided up evenly where it's pennies on the dollar. It's divided up so each single owner pays the assessment for that unit. So they get 52 times the assessment for each unit. They make their money after they sell it, not even on the sale price. They could give away timeshares and make almost as much money. So for $3,400, she gets 1 week in Vegas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me tell you, Mark, as a guy who goes to Vegas, for $3,400 a year, could you get a beautiful week in Vegas?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You could get...
Probably including airfare.
You could possibly get a indoor swimming pool in your room.
Now, I'm telling you, why would you be, if you could spend half that and get a better room, why would you spend $3,400 for 1 week?
Oh, my God. Yeah.
She's listening to the delay. It's driving me crazy. B, here's what I think. I think you're going to go ahead and buy one anyway. And I think you and your husband are going to go broke because you're the same one who had someone invest your money and supposedly made you 30 to 40 grand in a quarter. So not only are you ripe for ripoff, you also, I predict, will fall for anything.
This is
I didn't know that
Denver's
was the same person.
I know it's the same name.
Same woman, same everything.
The woman is just, she is just.
You could get downtown. You get a penthouse for $600 a million.
So why did you want to go to China?
Lows after China
And
says
open
it
up
will
in China?
raise
Is
tariffs
it because
on
of
all
labor?
goods.
She's a company that
Trade war intensifies between the
approached
world's
us. It's
largest
kind of a funny story.
And
The
Uber is
guy
starting off on Wall Street in
owns a
reverse,
company
shares
that's the
falling
largest
11%
neon light
today.
manufacturer in the world.
Company
And in
continues
China,
to rocky
the Chinese
debut on
stock market,
markets.
all of these companies like that,
Launch may have been
let's say they
fun,
make
given
paper,
the stock market
have
climb as US-China
all these
trade
other
tensions
divisions.
escalate.
And
shares of
so you might find a
Capital
paper
are down
company
close to 17%
with a
after
pharmaceutical
prosecutors
division,
accuse the Israeli
whereas you would
company
never
of
find that here in the
orchestrating
U.S., but they're
schemes
playing
linking other drug
hype on this
dealers to
Chinese
inflate
stock
drug
market.
prices in
So
the
he
US. And a
came
changing
up
of the
with
Mark,
Bed Bath
Mark,
& Beyond, the company facing
biotechnology.
How much time do I have? Do I have a spot?
And he put his daughter in charge of it.
Right
and
after
he
local
wanted
weather.
to
How
get
much?
doing
I
this
can
on
throw in
Monday
a
night.
recording if you want.
What, who is it?
Art of Granite.
Yeah, we can. I do another. I'll be right back.
With the Fox business
Got 5 minutes.
scheme.
So he contracted with us because
Allergy
we
sufferers.
were
My name's
facing
Nigel.
with
As a wise and educated
space and
owl,
world.
I know the difference between what's wise
That's why
and unwise.
had us do it.
Suffering needlessly with
Company
allergy
I retired
symptoms,
from.
unwise. Getting a free
So a friend
10-day
there,
sample of
he says,
Zysol, quite wise.
Negotiating there.
Zysol is the
This
allergy
is a
medicine
win-win
that's
for
just
both
as
of us.
effective at hour 24 as at hour 1. Which
When they
makes
go
getting
get-
a free 10-day
they
sample
go
one
get
of the
drugs,
wisest things
they
you can
get
do.
stuff, but they
So
said
don't be
they want
unwise.
more
Be
time
wise
to-
old and visit Zysol.com
But,
for
you know,
your
once we
free
hired this
sample
guy
today.
in
Use
Hong
as
Kong,
directed.
he's like, oh God, no,
This report is
perfect
sponsored by Wyndham
Trust me,
Hotels
we'll
and
get there.
Resorts.
It's
One
going to
big
take
slow
us,
spot on
you
the
know,
highway drive in the metro
twice as
area
long
in
as
that
you thought
typical
it would take.
spot,
But
westbound
we will get where
I-70
we
for
need
the
to be,
elevated portion,
and
westbound
they're gonna walk
370,
away from
heavy
the table
approaching
multiple
fast gas as
times.
well.
They're
And eastbound
going to
I-70 approaching
insult you.
Havana, that's a bit heavy at
They're
this
going
time
to
as well.
basically say
Construction in
they're
Colorado
trying to
also
rip 'em
stalled
off,
out
want
semi
their
there,
first
eastbound
quarter
I-70 approaching
and
Peoria.
that's
Just
just
the right lane block causing
culture.
big delays there. Also got a crash
But I
off
mean,
highway on
as
the
far as what
southbound
you
side of
do,
Vasquez.
you have to give, because I
Good
heard
area
that's
to
a big thing,
avoid
you
at
got to
this
give
time.
them
Weather
your
forecast. Slight
technology
chance of afternoon
or
thunderstorms
share your
today.
technology
High
with
near
them.
79. Right now,
Yeah,
partly
I
cloudy
mean,
skies
well,
in
that's
Denver,
part of our
71.
licensing.
When you
Okay, so you would license it to them.
K house.
With more than 6,000 hotels across the country, including La Quinta, Days Inn, and Super 8, a great hotel by Wyndham is closer than you think. Find one near you and book direct at wyndhamhotels.com.
I have to go
You've heard me talk about Art of Granite because I just love the way
to basically
Mitch
break in the
Hillary,
new doctor
the owner of
over
this
there,
business,
because they wanted a
in the country in
Chinese
the early 2000s,
speaking
$300
U.S. trained
He
physician
wanted to be
go over
in the
there.
granite
Because
business.
again,
Art of Granite
there,
fabricates beautiful
if you're a
countertops
wealthy
and
Chinese person,
supplies
you don't
cabinets direct from
treated
the
by
manufacturer.
Chinese
I can't say it
physicians.
enough.
You get treated
Save
by
money, get prices
U.S.
on the
physicians
board.
who are
If you're
flown
doing
over
a kitchen
there,
project, you don't have to
or
run all over
European
and shop
trained
around.
physicians
Call,
who
and
moved
Art of
over
Granite
there.
will give you a price on the phone. He may want some measurements,
It's just,
of course.
again,
Maybe a few
another
photos. He'll tell you how to do that. Call
thing.
him, take your price.
So,
If you
so
like
it's not
it,
that they're
you
better,
will go to
or
the showroom,
they probably
check
are
out
the
your
best.
material, your edges, your sinks and cabinets, and that's a
Yeah,
small
it's
markup
one
from the
status thing.
manufacturer.
Obviously,
Always
but they
wholesale on
kind
the
of
counter material.
not
He is a
that
direct
different from
stone
other
importer
countries,
of
and if
quartz
you're a
granite
wealthy
and other
person
natural
in
stone, as well as
South
solid
America,
surfaces.
there's a
Quotes
U.S.
on the
trained
phone,
physician
303
there.
386
There's a local that wants the U.S. to get
bathrooms
trained.
free when you have the
That
kitchen done at
physician
the
has
same
more
time, and also
street
will
cred
tear out and haul away everything
than
free.
someone that's
303
trained down the
386
street.
5919.
I grew up in a military family, and that's why it's important to me to remind veterans that it's time to take advantage of the VA benefits that you deserve. This is Ross Kaminsky, and
Have you ever texted the wrong person because their name was up and you thought you were texting someone else? You have? I just did. I said, honey, I need to do this and this. I love you, and I sent it to my friend. He says, Tom, are you calling me honey?
If you're already in a mortgage, no problem. You can refinance any
Actually,
mortgage.
it's better back and said it's coming out.
Oh, God, I said, I can't
You
believe
do look rather nice.
Oh, God.
It's available to
I
activate.
can't believe I just, how do you do that? You just look at the, I'm looking at my text. I don't understand why I think it's,
Everybody's done that.
I know it, I didn't realize that. Is that called pocket texting? No. What?
303-695-7000. 303-695-7000
You're talking like butt dial.
for American Finance.
It's not butt dial though, it's wrong texting though. Oh my God.
Brent Ivinson, Ideal Home Loans. Let's talk about how you can help home buyers.
Mike Wolf just told me everybody's office, including Tim's, Big Tim, are going to be all the same size. Basically the size of Wolf's old office. I find that hard to believe. The other thing I learned, I don't know if you...
I have to get an appointment right now.
Do you realize if you want to put up a picture of like your family, you can't?
No, they're going to really strictly control it, right?
Big time. It's just iHeart is corporate, so, you know, people don't want different things. It's just got to be uniform. It won't really affect us because we have our own kind of office, but it's crazy. If you want to put up a picture, it's got to be approved, but no matter what, it's got to have a certain color frame and a certain size. So if it matches that, and then you get an approval, then you can put it up.
I think that's actually pretty good because I hate when places get trashed.
It's very uniform.
I don't mind that at all.
I don't know if I mind it either. I just find it a lot different.
Are they going to renovate as well? Or?
No, they totally. This whole place will look different. This studio probably won't, but the first 2 floors are going to be rented out to other companies. So iHeart, you'll actually come in through the back after June or July. You'll come in through the back door, then you'll go to the elevators. The first 2 floors will have nothing to do with us.
Talk station, 630
Sounds like an iHeart HOA.
Yeah. It's a trip.
I'm Tom Martino, your troubleshooter, 303-713-TALK. We have plenty of lines open, just to let you know, 303-713-8255. And we have Dr. Chris Centeno with us from Centeno Schultz, and he's here to help us with any questions you might have. GenesisTotalExteriors.com. If you go to that website, you'll learn about Genesis and their renovation work they can do for you. And it's a company you can trust. I love having people I can trust. You know, I'm doing something right now with a property, and I mean this sincerely. I'm on that referral list every day talking to people. And now I'm going to use Amazing Moves and all of this. And don't think because I'm mentioning them, I'm getting things free. I'm not. I'm absolutely a customer of referralist.com because I believe it. Anyway, GenesisTotalExteriors.com. So, Dr. Chris Centeno, some questions people wanted to know. When it comes to the stem cell therapy, you mentioned that systemically, they don't do it, and there are people experimenting every day in this. And so, let me get the actual question here. I have it somewhere. And then what they want to know is, do you have, first of all, the anesthesia? What do you do for the extraction of bone marrow? Somebody was told it could be painful.
Yeah, it's usually not as painful as people believe. So about 90% of our patients just get numbed up locally. And then about 10% want us to knock them out, which we can easily
You can do?
Yeah.
Okay. Or a conscious sedation, would that help, or is it?
Yeah, we can do anything from conscious to unconscious sedation.
But you don't have to do general, do you? Or is that general when you put them out?
Yeah, it's a type of general anesthesia if you knock them all.
What does the whole treatment take for extraction and treatment, or do they come back another time for treatment?
They would come in the morning. It's usually about a 40-minute procedure to extract. Then we process for several hours in the lab, and then they come back in the afternoon to get it put back in, and that could be a quick thing or many hours, depending on what it is we're doing.
Is there alternatives to bone marrow?
Yeah, you can use fat. If you break down the fat, though, to get the cells out, the FDA doesn't like that. So the problem with fat
then it's more effective. The bone marrow is more effective.
For what we do, bone marrow has been the go-to for a long time. We've used fat, we've used bone marrow. We've published a paper on comparing the two, and one wasn't. Adding the fat in didn't do us much good, so we stopped doing it.
Chris, go ahead. Our number is 303-713-TALK. Again, we're not singling out stem cells. You can talk about anything you'd like. I do want us to remind people they have weekly seminars. They are weekly. What's going on, Chris? What's your question?
A question on stem cell treatments for neuropathy, if it helps.
Neuropathy is a lack of feeling or tingling in your extremities, right?
Yes.
Do you have diabetes?
I do, type 2.
Okay.
Yeah, so stem cells help neuropathy? Listen, if your decreased sensation is really coming from things like irritated nerves in your neck or back, which is a very common thing that gets underdiagnosed, then this type of treatment can help. If it's coming from nerves that are already dead due to the damage, then this kind of thing is not going to help. And if it's somewhere in between, then this sort of thing may help. But it's not a cure-all for neuropathy.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, what about stem cells in dental therapies of any kind, like gums, and do they help with that tissue growth?
Yeah, dentists have been at the forefront of using lots of biologics. They were the first to use PRP back in the 80s and 90s for bone healing in dental procedures. And you can actually get stem cells from teeth. The problem is not a lot of them, as you might imagine. Teeth are relatively small. So you can get stem cells from teeth, and there are dentists now using some stem cells in various procedures, again, mostly for bone healing, trying to get prosthetics to heal to bone.
Okay, because for implants you need healthy bone.
Yes, and you need that integration of the bone to the implant.
Now, can you get, another question, because you mentioned bone marrow, can you get stem cells from regular blood?
There's very, very, very few circulating in the blood.
Really?
Yeah.
So what do stem cells do? Are they inside the bone? Are stem cells everywhere? Where are they?
Yeah, there's stem cells in pretty much every tissue in your body.
But not circulate.
But they generally, most of them don't circulate.
What are they? Are they building blocks? Are they all the same, in other words? If you extract them from marrow or extract them from a kidney?
They are distant kissing cousins between those two sources. But realize that they're there as the maintenance men. They're there to keep everything going well. So if you go out for a hard workout, let's say you go out for a big 20-mile jog or 10-mile jog, come back in, you've killed off a couple thousand cartilage cells that are going to need to be replaced.
Through the motion.
And that's what through the impact, and that's what happens. That's what stem cells do. You've ripped up some muscles. There are satellite cells in your muscles that are the stem cells that basically then repair and replace those muscles. So when you go work out at the gym, that's how your muscles get bigger, through the stem cells that live in your muscles.
So in birth, what do they do? Are they the major part of the birth process from embryo on?
Yeah, so an embryonic stem cell would be what creates you. So that's basically how, things are only one cell type, and then they start differentiating into a couple different cell types. Then they start going into specific tissues. It all starts out as a single embryonic stem cell type.
Now, Suzanne, you have a Facebook question?
Yes, they're wanting the doctor to explain the difference between recovering from ACL surgery compared to recovering from ACL stem cell treatment.
Yeah, so what do you inject it into the ACL?
Yeah, so we've been injecting, we're the first in the world to inject stem cells into the ACL. We've been studying that now for a long time.
Are they immobilized? Do they wear a brace? What do they do?
Yeah, so the recovery time is about half what a surgical ACL would be. Having said that, realize that only about 6 in 10 people currently getting surgery are candidates for that stem cell procedure. 4 in 10 are not.
So 4 in 10, but 6 in 10, if you're told you need ACL surgery, repair, you should at least get a consultation. What would determine if they're eligible or not? What is it that doesn't make them eligible with an ACL tear?
So if the ACL is...
And the ACL is near the knee, right?
It's inside the knee. It's a major stabilizer. So if the ACL is torn and retracted back like a rubber band...
Yes, you can't fix it?
We can't do that through a needle.
Right.
That has to be surgically done.
But if it's torn, it can repair the tear?
If it's torn and there's still tissues left in there, which is about 6 in 10 of them, we can repair the tear via an injection into that ACL.
And when you do, you say 6 in 10 people who have ACL problems are eligible. Those are the ones with tears as opposed to breaks, so to speak. Of the ones you do, what's the percentage of success?
Oh, very high. So if we pick them right about 90% of the time, we'll get them back to sports, and a post-op MRI will show substantial improvement in that ligament.
Okay, we have more coming right up.
This report is sponsored by Wyndham Hotels and Resorts.
Let's start off with the good news. That earlier stalled semi eastbound I...
They're all over our office. So yeah, I mean, those guys have been doing it for a long time. For them, it's yeah, I mean, think about it. I mean, their whole contract value is determined by what they can and can't do, how quickly they heal from injury.
I would think it would have to be better than surgery. But so with an ACL tear surgery, they go in arthroscopically and they
rip it out, drill a hole, put a tendon, string of tendons.
You know what they did to my dog?
Wait. They don't do that when it's just fishing line, do they?
Yeah, they do.
They put in where do they get the new tendon?
They usually take it from a part of your patellar tendon or your hamstrings.
Okay. Guys. Fuller Law, John Fuller is a personal injury attorney. I highly recommend you call. If you've been in an auto accident, a truck, pedestrian accident, motorcycle, whatever it is, with motor vehicles, you need information. Obviously, you have to take care of your injuries and all that first, but you get legal information free of charge by calling John Fuller, and he'll tell you if you have a case, if someone is responsible, and about what it's worth. John Fuller, Fuller Law, free legal advice after an accident. 303-597-4500, 597-4500. John Fuller.
I can't even believe NFL people would at least try that at first.
They do 4 tears. They do it. Yeah, realize also these NFL guys have like 2 worlds. The one world is they get injured on Monday Night Football, they go to the team physician. The other world is they have a nagging problem that they don't tell the team physician about because it affects their contract value.
Oh, yeah. And the betting odds.
Yeah, they get care for that outside.
Icon Eye Care is your hometown LASIK partner of the Denver Broncos. Did you know that? I endorse them because they're great. And Icon Eye Care has done more than 250,000 LASIK procedures in Colorado alone. 20 years in Denver with the top surgeons. Now, I'm getting word out about the LASIK as well as all the other stuff. And because I had the Clear Lens Exchange. Either way, you won't go wrong with Icon. That's Icon, I-C-O-N, Icon. iCare.com, 866-GOT-ICON.
Missed rates being this low before. So you got to keep that data
Quiet them? Yeah, I mean, you know, the NFL guys? Yeah. Yeah, so that second world where they try to keep those nagging problems quiet. Like if they can go to someone and get it handled.
Probably this week.
Because it all impacts their contract.
That would be today. Is he really doing it? Yes, he's definitely doing
Okay,
it.
so it's funny.
I don't know his exact start.
Because think about it, the agent gets
This
cut
month.
off of whatever the contract value is. So if their agent can direct them to somebody where they can get something handled,
Okay, because I have the openings on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday.
That's the way that
That's
works.
where I'm going to fit them.
What about our Yeah, we do a lot of that. We do a lot of low back stuff. So about half, or spine stuff, about half of what we do on a day-to-day basis is spine. The other half personal.
Do you have, I've asked you this before, on that lower back bullshit that men get, just, you know, slight arthritis, slight, you know, whatever. I mean, do you get much success on that, just older guys with lower back pain?
We do. I mean, that's mostly what we well, that's a section of what we
I just need to get it.
You and I have had this conversation.
I'm going to, but listen, but I wouldn't be a candidate for offshore.
You might be. I've never looked at your pictures.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you my picture. I got that for sure. Just have your guy save me the. Oh, never mind. I'll get it.
Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter, 303-713-TALK. Okay, we have a question. Carpal tunnel. Does stem cell work for carpal tunnel? Have you treated carpal tunnel?
Yeah, we treat quite a bit of carpal tunnel. Again, about 70% of the ones that are currently getting operated are a candidate for this type of treatment, and we don't usually use stem cells. We will use a platelet lysate, which is platelet-based growth factors, which works very, very well around nerves like that. That's a ultrasound-guided procedure. We do quite a few of those.
Jim, what's going on with you, Jim? Go ahead.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
I have a torn bicep and a torn rotator cuff. It's the short muscle on my rotator cuff.
Well, how'd you get all that? In the same arm, the same side?
In the same arm, the same side, yeah. And it's been that way for about a year.
How'd you get it? Do you know?
It was an injury. Apparently, it was an older injury, and then I re-injured it lifting weights about a year ago.
So what about that?
Yeah, hey, Jim, do you have a kind of like a Popeye type thing going on where the biceps muscle has fallen down, or no?
No.
Okay, so
No.
if it's not, so therefore it's not a complete retracted tear. So
That's correct. It's about a 1/3 tear in my rotator cuff, and I don't know how bad the tear is in my bicep. But I have had two surgeons look at it, and they both wanted to do surgery on it at the time, which was close to a year ago.
Well, it wouldn't hurt being evaluated. Have you? I guess more than anything, I want to ask Jim: have you done these before?
Yeah. In fact, shoulders are a big section of what we do. If it's a 1/3 partial tear of the rotator cuff, that's something that's right squarely in
your wheelhouse.
In our wheelhouse. Yeah.
Let's talk to Robert. Robert, go ahead, sir. Robert.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the stem cell origination, do they come with a certain amount of oxygen and energy, or can they be renovated to give an 84-year-old youngster more energy than energy that he needs?
Well, hold on. So, Robert, are you asking about overall energy and vitality?
Right.
Okay. They don't use stem cells for that. How old are you? 86?
84.
84?
84, I'm young.
Bio-T. No, Robert, seriously, have you had your hormones, have you been tested with a complete blood panel and hormones?
So you're trying to get a way around it. Okay.
No, I'm not trying to get a way around anything. I'm saying stem cells are not used just to help general old age.
I have not checked my hormones. I have taken some testosterone, and it seemed to help.
Yeah, it does, but you need...
I don't think I need any hormone test.
But you don't... Well, how would you know? I mean, for goodness sakes, what do you mean you don't think? That's what I'm getting at. You don't know unless you actually have a test. I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I'm just saying...
Are the stem cells in the hormones?
Okay.
Hey, Robert, I don't think that would be a good use of stem cells at this point in time.
No, they don't use them for energy.
Things.
But you may want, I'm serious now, you may want to get checked out by a doctor that deals with biotin, not just for testosterone or estrogen, but they test for thyroid. And then there's other hormones people don't know about. I don't know how you pronounce this, Sarah Brolson or something, but it's for brain function, and they have a melatonin for listen, there are so many different hormones that they check for. And what I think you should do is have a complete blood panel, Robert. As you get older, your hormones are depleting, and all you do is restore them. Doesn't that make sense? Okay, first we have to resurrect him. Okay, 303-713-TALK. We just have a couple minutes left. Let me get to some email questions. Listen, man, Robert, I know what you're asking, and you know, you do start losing energy and vitality as you get older, but that's the whole thing. These fake guys, these chiropractors mostly, unfortunately, they give chiropractors a bad name, but they give all kinds of promises. Have you ever heard one of their seminars? They're absolutely carnival barkers.
Oh, no, I agree. They'll treat anything, including this. I'm sure if this guy walked in...
If this guy walked in, they would tell him. No, they would tell him. They would tell him. They would say, you know what? I think you're going to be fine. You're going to be like a young man again. And then they give him an injection in the arm.
Yeah, for 20 grand, he'll be like he'll be like
and
new.
Some of these people have spent $18,000 to $20,000. There was a woman at your last seminar that raised her hand and talked to me and says, I'm the one who spent like I could have the number wrong, $28,000.
Yeah, to have dead tissue injected by a nurse in a chiropractor's office.
Right.
Without even using a guided needle.
Well, no guided. They don't know where they just blindly inject. Yeah. How long does an evaluation take at your office? And evaluations aren't free. Now, the seminars are, and those cursory evaluations, and you look at the imagery and you do some ultrasound. But if someone wants to call for an evaluation, how much does it cost?
You get an hour face-to-face time with the doc. That's minimum at our clinic. So an hour face-to-face
with imaging. I mean, not your. They read your imaging, right? Or do you do imaging?
Yeah, we're on most health insurance plans, so that's covered by your health carrier usually. So that's
is the evaluation covered if you're having pain and discomfort?
It is.
Okay, good. And it's 303-963-9201. So 2 locations.
Yeah, up in Broomfield and down in Lone Tree.
Does it matter where you go? Will you get the same valuation?
You'll get the same of everything.
CentennoSchultz.com. All right, we've had a good time. And Lionel Valier, thank you for being here. He's the one who used the public adjuster and got a crap load of money more than he thought he had coming. He's still working with him. And we have, of course, always a lot to talk about. Remember, you can contact us at 303-MARTINO. Budget A1 Transmission and Auto Repair has everything you...
Okay, I'm making an appointment. I'm making an appointment.
Okay.
I'm calling up.
Where are you?
Well, no, who shall... You don't care.
Send me an email and I'll make it happen.
84 years, youngster.
No, I died while we were talking.
I don't know if anybody's ever told you that, but you are so believable. You really are. You come across as...
Oh, he always says. And he's so credible. He says, hey,
so credible.
That
You really do. You really do.
I can't... He doesn't oversell.
Right, exactly.
No.